Chapter 4875. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. When the restriction disappeared, the immortal essence fruit tree shook slightly. Suddenly, the dozens of fruits on it all fell off the branches. Then, they flew in all directions. The immortal essence fruit tree was very extraordinary. It seemed to have developed some intelligence. After the fruits were thrown out, Yizichin sent them flying. The immortal essence fruit tree did not dare to stay any longer. Instead, it quickly disappeared. There seemed to be an abyss in that place. The immortal essence fruit tree should be hiding in the abyss. Many experts flew towards the immortal essence fruit. This included those dragon kings and beast kings. They also rushed towards the immortal essence fruit. In order to snatch the immortal essence fruit, these powerful creatures directly fought. The destructive power of a battle at their level was simply unimaginable. Therefore, no one dared to approach the battlefield. If they dared to approach the battlefield of these experts, they would definitely die miserably. Lin Feng and Long Outyan hid in the forest. Then, Lin Feng took out the Swallowing Heaven Jar. The Swallowing Heaven Jar released a powerful devouring power. The immortal essence fruits were enveloped by the devouring power formed by the Swallowing Heaven Jar and then quickly flew towards it. So many immortal essence fruits are flying towards the forest over there. There are people in the forest over there. Let's go and intercept them halfway. Many cultivators saw the situation and shouted loudly. Those cultivators wanted to take the immortal essence fruits while they were still flying in the air. Snatch the immortal essence fruits. At this time, Long Outyan made his move. Lin Feng took out the Hui bow and let Long Outyan use it. Long Outyan pulled the bow and shot an arrow. Energy arrows formed one after another. Those energy arrows shot towards the cultivators who were flying towards the immortal essence fruits. Be careful! Many people were shocked and quickly dodged the energy arrows. But when they dodged the energy arrow attack, they were stunned. The Swallowing Heaven Jar had successfully swallowed those immortal essence fruits. The Swallowing Heaven Jar had swallowed a total of 11 immortal essence fruits. With so many immortal essence fruits taken, it naturally attracted the attention of many experts. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Experts at the true immortal realm, beast kings, and dragon kings quickly flew over. Let's go! After Lin Feng took the Swallowing Heaven Jar, he grabbed Long Outyan and used the void travel technique to leave. It's him! A true immortal realm expert was shocked and recognized Lin Feng's identity. Therefore, he didn't chase after Lin Feng. However, there were also some experts who did not recognize Lin Feng. So he went to chase after Lin Feng. In the end, Lin Feng and Long Outyan shook off their pursuers. The immortal essence fruit is very special. According to different cultivation levels, the number of immortal essence fruits one can refine is also different. It is said that cultivators below the genuine immortal realm can only refine one immortal essence fruit. If one takes too many immortal essence fruits, his body won't be able to withstand the power of the immortal essence fruit, and will suffer great damage. Basically, a genuine immortal realm cultivator can only refine 2 or 3 immortal essence fruits. There won't be any effect if I refine the third one, Long Outyan said. Lin Feng nodded. He took out the 3 immortal essence fruits and gave them to Long Outyan. A cultivator could only refine 3 immortal essence fruits at most. Long Outyan didn't ask for more. He knew that the immortal essence fruits left by Lin Feng were still useful. Even if he asked for more immortal essence fruits, it wouldn't be of much use. Let's go and find a place to cultivate, Lin Feng said. Long Outyan nodded. Lin Feng found a place to cultivate in seclusion. Long Outyan sat cross-legged and ate the 3 immortal essence fruits. Then, he began to refine the medicinal power of the immortal essence fruits. Lin Feng summoned his 9 orifices Stone Man Doppelganger. The 9 orifices Stone Man Doppelganger was only one step away from breaking through to the genuine immortal realm. Lin Feng planned to let the 9 orifices Stone Man Doppelganger refine a few immortal essence fruits to see if it could break through. The 9 orifices Stone Man Doppelganger had the body of a stone man. It was different from ordinary cultivators. Its body was even stronger than many genuine immortal realm cultivators. Therefore, refining 3 immortal essence fruits was not a problem. As for Lin Feng himself, his body had already broken through to the genuine immortal realm. In addition, the power contained in his body was far stronger than that of a genuine immortal realm expert. Therefore, refining 3 immortal essence fruits was not a problem. Out of the 11 immortal essence fruits, he gave 3 to Long Outyen, refined 3 for himself and the 9 orifices stone man doppelganger. In this case, there were 2 left. Lin Feng planned to let Tong Yali refine the 2 immortal essence fruits. In this case, Tong Yali's cultivation should be able to break through to the itinerant immortal realm. Breaking through to the itinerant immortal realm was an extremely important transformation for a cultivator. Lin Feng ate 3 immortal essence fruits. Then, he began to refine the immortal essence fruits. Now, Lin Feng was at the 5th heaven of the itinerant immortal realm. He did not know what level he could break through to after refining 3 immortal essence fruits. Considering that he had accumulated a lot of power, Lin Feng would be satisfied if he could break through 2 or 3 levels. It did not take long for Lin Feng to break through to the 6th heaven of the itinerant immortal realm. This surprised Lin Feng because the effect of the immortal essence fruit seemed to be much better than expected. Lin Feng continued to refine the immortal essence fruit to break through. Then, he broke through 3 levels in a row. Lin Feng's realm stopped at the 9th heaven of the itinerant immortal realm. He was only 1 step away from the 10th heaven of the itinerant immortal realm. The effect of the immortal essence fruit is actually so awesome. After Lin Feng came out of seclusion, he could not help but be extremely excited. Being able to break through 4 levels made Lin Feng extremely satisfied. He only needed to break through 1 more level. He could break through to the 10th heaven of the itinerant immortal realm. When the time came, after accumulating for a while, it was not impossible to find an opportunity to break through to the human immortal realm. When Lin Feng came out of seclusion, the 9 orifices stone man doppelganger and Long Outyen were still in seclusion. Not long after, Long Outyen finally came out of seclusion. Long Outyen successfully broke through to the Dao immortal realm. Because Long Outyen was recultivating his current realm, he did not attract the lightning tribulation when he broke through. 3 days later, the 9 orifices stone man doppelganger also came out of seclusion. The 9 orifices stone man doppelganger was about to undergo the true immortal tribulation. After spending more than 2 months, the 9 orifices stone man doppelganger finally succeeded. As for the 9 orifices stone man doppelganger, it successfully broke through to the true immortal realm. This made Lin Feng extremely happy. With the 9 orifices stone man doppelganger's breakthrough, Lin Feng's overall fighting strength would increase by a large margin. 10 days later, Lin Feng and Long Outyen returned to the Yin-Yang Alliance. Lin Feng, leave quickly! The Yin-Yang Alliance is not safe now! Tong Yali's expression changed drastically when she saw Lin Feng. She hurriedly said to Lin Feng. During this period, she had been very worried about Lin Feng. Now that Lin Feng had returned, she was even more worried about Lin Feng. What happened? Lin Feng asked. Gee! You're finally back! Before Tong Yali could tell Lin Feng what had happened, many cultivators from the Yin-Yang Alliance arrived and surrounded Lin Feng and Long Outyen. Chapter 4876. After seeing these people, Lin Feng could roughly guess why they were here. They must have seen him and Long Outyen snatching some immortal essence fruits. Therefore, they immediately made things difficult for them when they returned. Lin Feng said indifferently. What's the meaning of this? Lu Yu said. I heard that you've obtained some immortal essence fruits. Cultivators can only use 3 at most, and cultivators below the true immortal realm can only use 1. If you keep it for too long, it will lose its effect. Since you have more than enough immortal essence fruits, why don't you take them out and give them to the higher-ups of the Yin-Yang Alliance so that they can cultivate? Long Outyen pursed his lips and said, We got the immortal essence fruits with our own abilities. Why should we take them out? Besides, we've already used them. Don't even think about getting something that doesn't belong to you in the first place. Shut up! Do you have the right to speak here? Think about your own status. Lu Yu looked at Long Outian coldly. Long Outian was a guy who liked to pretend to be a pig to eat a tiger, so Long Outian used a special spell to hide his true cultivation level. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to tell that his aura was similar to that of a great emperor. Emperor realm cultivators were considered experts in the mortal world, but this was the undying world. Experts from all over the universe had gathered in the undying world. There were as many experts as there were clouds in the undying world. Emperor realm cultivators were indeed not considered experts in the undying world. Naturally, everyone looked down on Long Outian. On the other hand, Lin Feng didn't deliberately hide his cultivation because Lin Feng was only an itinerant immortal realm cultivator. His cultivation level. It wasn't that high. F***CK, what are you talking about? Do you think I won't beat you up? Long Outian glared at Lu Yu. You're courting death. Lu Yu's eyes were filled with killing intent. He walked toward Long Outian as if he wanted to kill him. Brother, what do you think we should do about today's matter? Long Outian looked at Lin Feng. He was filled with anger. Lin Feng said, Someone stepped on my head and peed on me. What else can I do? Let's just do it with real guns and bullets. Lin Feng, don't be impulsive. Hand over the immortal essence fruit, and you can still keep your life. Tong Yali almost begged. No matter what kind of treasure it was, in Tong Yali's eyes, it was far less important than Lin Feng's life. Therefore, Tong Yali hoped that Lin Feng could take out the immortal essence fruit. Lin Feng had already offended Lu Yu. However, when the time came, he could ask his master, Fairy Qingyun, to plead for mercy. Lu Yu might still spare Lin Feng and Long Outian's lives. However, if Lin Feng didn't take out the immortal essence fruit, then, when the time comes, only death awaited him. Don't worry, we'll be fine, Lin Feng said. How laughable! You're so ignorant that you don't even know your own worth. Now I'll send you to the afterlife, Lu Yu said indifferently. He had already begun to gather his magical power. Obviously, he was planning to deal with Lin Feng and Long Outian. Master! Please help him! Tong Yali grabbed Fairy Qingyun's hand and begged. Fairy Qingyun also revealed a difficult expression. After all, she was only a celestial immortal. Now, this matter was obviously led by Wu Daoxian, a true immortal. Moreover, several quasi-true immortals were also involved. If she stepped forward now, it would be useless. Instead, she would offend these people. Therefore, Fairy Qingyun sighed and said, Everyone has to pay the price for their own choices. You have to understand this principle. Of course, Tong Yali understood this principle. However, she wanted to help Lin Feng. She wanted to save Lin Feng. However, at this time, Tong Yali felt a deep sense of powerlessness. Just at this moment, Long Outian opened his mouth to speak. Sometimes the world you see is different from the world you see with the naked eye. Remember this. When you're strong, don't bully others. Because in the world of cultivators, anything is possible. After Long Outian finished speaking, he stepped forward and walked towards Lu Yu. Then, Long Outian raised his right hand and punched towards Lu Yu. Courting death! Lu Yu's expression was indifferent. He also punched towards Long Outian. Previously, Lu Yu wanted to find a chance to get rid of Lin Feng and Long Outian. Today, it was a great opportunity to get rid of Long Outian first, then Lin Feng. Lu Yu's plan was quite good. Bang! The next moment, Long Outian and Lu Yu collided fiercely. Originally, many people thought that Long Outian, an Emperor Realm cultivator, would be killed by Lu Yu. However, when the great battle began, something happened that made everyone extremely astonished. Long Outian was safe and sound. Instead, Lu Yu flew out like a kite with a broken string. Barf! In midair, Lu Yu could not help but vomit blood. After seeing this scene, everyone was completely dumbfounded. They could not believe what they had seen. Lu Yu! That was a heavenly immortal expert. He was actually no match for an Emperor Realm cultivator? Wasn't this too inconceivable? Soon everyone figured it out. Long Outyen was definitely not an Emperor Realm cultivator. He had hidden his cultivation level. Therefore, that was why he was so powerful. With a plop, Lu Yu fell to the ground. After his body twitched a few times, he died. After seeing this scene, many people could not help but take a deep breath. Instant kill. Lu Yu was actually killed in an instant. What was the cultivation level of the guy who attacked? Was he a quasi-true immortal? Or was he a true immortal? At the thought of this, everyone could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. Tong Yali was also shocked. Tong Yali did not expect the cultivator beside Lin Feng to be so powerful. Could this cultivator be Lin Feng's backer? However, something did not seem right. Lin Feng and this cultivator spoke as if they were peers. Moreover, she even saw Lin Feng playing around with Long Outyen sometimes. Long Outyen also seemed to listen to Lin Feng's orders for many things. Tong Yali had always thought that Long Outyen was Lin Feng's follower. However, now, Long Outyen had displayed such terrifying strength. How could Lin Feng have such a powerful follower? For a moment, Tong Yali could not help but feel confused. She did not know what the relationship between Lin Feng and Long Outyen was. Preposterous! This is outrageous! Do you really think that there's no one in our Yin-Yang Immortal sect? Today, if you dare to kill someone from our Yin-Yang Immortal sect, no one in this world can save you! Wu Daoxian, a perfected immortal expert of the Yin-Yang Immortal sect, said coldly. Then, he charged towards Long Outyen. Long Outyen sneered and began to circulate his dermic powers to deal with Wu Daoxian. Who would have thought that Wu Daoxian would change direction halfway? He quickly rushed towards Lin Feng and struck out with his palm towards Lin Feng. Chapter 4877. Wu Daoxian knew how difficult it was to provoke Long Outyen, although he didn't directly attack him. Instead, he attacked Lin Feng. In Wu Daoxian's opinion, Long Outyen was most likely Lin Feng's Dao protector. Therefore, if he could capture Lin Feng, he could use Lin Feng to threaten Long Outyen. The rest of the people obviously didn't expect Wu Daoxian to attack Lin Feng after a feint. However, the surrounding cultivators were all smart people. Soon, they thought of Wu Daoxian's purpose for doing so. Everyone looked at Lin Feng with pity. Both sides obviously had an irreconcilable hatred. When Lin Feng was caught, he definitely wouldn't have a good ending. Long Outyen was the only one who had a faint smile on his face. It was a mocking expression. Long Outyen knew how powerful Lin Feng was. Moreover, Lin Feng's cultivation had broken through again. Lin Feng's avatar had even broken through to the true immortal realm. That was a 9-orifice stone man avatar. How terrifying was its battle strength! It was simply unimaginable. Therefore, in Long Outyen's opinion, Wu Daoxian was simply courting death by going against Lin Feng. How could Lin Feng be so easy to deal with? And at this moment, Wu Daoxian's terrifying palm had already struck. Wu Daoxian's idea was very simple. First, he would severely injure Lin Feng, then capture Lin Feng. I bestow death upon you! Just as Wu Daoxian's palm was about to hit Lin Feng stepped forward and slapped towards Wu Daoxian. The power of death coiled around Lin Feng's palm. Lin Feng seemed to have transformed into a death god. His aura was so terrifying that it was terrifying. Bang! Accompanied by the sound of a violent collision. Everyone saw that. Lin Feng didn't move at all. The true immortal expert Wu Daoxian was sent flying like a kite with a broken string. When they saw this scene, everyone looked as if they had seen a ghost. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. That was a true immortal. He was actually sent flying by a palm strike. Moreover, he sent this true immortal cultivator flying with a palm strike. He was actually just a young human cultivator. Anyone who saw this scene would find it hard to believe that it was real, but it was real. It was a real thing that happened in front of everyone's eyes. Even if they couldn't believe it. But it was happening right in front of them. How could they not believe it? Who is he? Is he really just a young cultivator? Could he be the reincarnation of the ancient sacred emperor? Everybody was astonished. Everybody was looking at Lin Feng with astonishment. Tongs was she didn't know Lin Feng was already so strong. He could make a cultivator of the true celestial layer retreat with one punch. Just how powerful would one need to be able to do all this? At this moment, Lin Feng arrived in front of Wu Daoxian like a shadow and pointed at Wu Daoxian. Lin Feng wanted to kill Wu Daoxian. Wu Daoxian cried out in horror. "Spare me! Spare me! On the account that it's not easy for me to cultivate. Please spare my life. I'm willing to submit to young master." Lin Feng withdrew his attack and placed his hands behind his back like a young sacred emperor. "Kneel down and swear!" His voice was unquestionable. Everybody was looking at Lin Feng. They were all looking at him in awe. They were all astonished. In the hearts of those cultivators, Lin Feng was like a god or a demon. Wu Daoxian's expression was uncertain. He was a true immortal expert. It was a great insult to him to kneel down and beg for mercy. However, Wu Daoxian did not dare to go against Lin Feng's words because he knew that if he did, Lin Feng would definitely kill him. Wu Daoxian did not want to die. He knelt on the ground with a thud and began to swear with his right hand facing the sky. "I, Wu Daoxian, swear with my soul to the heavens that I will be loyal to young Master Ji from now on. If I violate the oath, I may be struck by lightning and die a horrible death." After Wu Daoxian made the oath, an oath rune condensed and imprinted itself between Wu Daoxian's brows. From then on, Wu Daoxian could no longer betray Lin Feng. If he dared to betray Lin Feng would activate the oath rune and Wu Daoxian would die immediately. "All right, get up," Lin Feng said. "Yes, young master," Wu Daoxian replied and then stood up. Lin Feng said, "Now that Dragon Island is sealed, the various forces are also scheming against each other. If you want to survive on Dragon Island, you need to have a strong power. I'm sure everyone is aware of the current situation on Dragon Island. Previously, Yin-Yang Alliance was not considered a particularly strong alliance. However, now, Yin-Yang Alliance is definitely one of the strongest alliances. Everyone can bring your friends and fellow sect members over. The stronger Yin-Yang Alliance is, the more benefits everyone will receive." After hearing Lin Feng's words, many people could not help but become excited. Just as Lin Feng said, danger lurked everywhere on Dragon Island. It was not only the prehistoric dragon tribe and the living beings on Dragon Island that posed a threat. There were also threats from other alliances, facing all kinds of dangerous situations in the outside world. Previously, the cultivators of Yin-Yang Alliance were indeed aggrieved. However, it was different now. There were two terrifying existences, Lin Feng and Long Outyan, holding the fort. In addition, there was Wu Daoxian from before. With Yin-Yang Alliance's strength, who would dare to bully the cultivators of Yin-Yang Alliance? Lin Feng walked towards his residence. Long Outyan followed closely behind. Tong Yali was just about to leave with Lin Feng when Fairy Qingyan hurriedly pulled her back. Fairy Qingyan said, "Jiali, how is this young Master Ji so powerful? I've never heard you mention him before." Tong Yali smiled bitterly and said, "I didn't know he was so powerful before." Thinking back to how Tong Yali had begged her to help Lin Feng, Fairy Qingyun did not feel that Tong Yali was lying to her. It was just a pity that she did not make a move earlier. If she had made a move earlier, she would have been able to get closer to Lin Feng. But now, she had already missed this opportunity. "Yali, help me explain the situation later. I have my own difficulties as well," Fairy Qingyun said. Tong Yali sighed in her heart. She did not blame Fairy Qingyun for not making a move. After all, the situation earlier was indeed very disadvantageous for Lin Feng. If she had helped Lin Feng at that time, it would have been an arduous and thankless task. However, it was impossible to say that Tong Yali did not have any cracks in her heart. However, Tong Yali was indebted to Fairy Qingyun, so she did not say anything. "This disciple will help Master explain," Tong Yali said. Chapter 4878. Long Outyen knew that Tong Yali might have a lot of things to say to Lin Feng, so he did not enter the cave. Instead, he strolled outside. Tong Yali entered the cave. When she was facing Lin Feng alone, although she had a lot to say, she did not know how to say it at this moment. Moreover, the current Lin Feng made her feel a little unfamiliar, because the current Lin Feng was too powerful. This feeling of unfamiliarity came from the difference in strength between the two of them. Therefore, the current Tong Yali had a sense of inferiority when facing Lin Feng. Lin Feng seemed to know what Tong Yali was thinking. He pulled Tong Yali into his embrace and said, "I'm still me, so don't think too much. Don't think about chasing after my cultivation speed. I like you as a person, not your strength. Just cultivate step by step." The reason why Lin Feng said this to Tong Yali was because Lin Feng understood Tong Yali better. He knew that Tong Yali was a competitive person. Lin Feng was worried that Tong Yali would feel that she was not worthy of him, and then cultivate desperately to close the distance between them. It was exactly the same as what Huang Linger did back then. Even though many years had passed. Now that he thought of Huang Linger's death, Lin Feng's heart was still very sad. Huang Linger wanted to close the distance between them. She cultivated desperately. She cultivated desperately. In the end, it led to qi deviation. She died. This was the regret in Lin Feng's heart. It was also the pain in Lin Feng's heart. Therefore, Lin Feng naturally did not want to see a repeat of the tragedy. Tong Yali hugged Lin Feng tightly with both hands. After hearing Lin Feng's words, she seemed to have untied the knot in her heart. Then she raised her head, wrinkled her nose, and said, "You're so powerful, why didn't you tell me? You made me so worried about you." Lin Feng said, "Life needs surprises. If I say everything, wouldn't it be boring?" Humph! Tong Yali couldn't help but snort lightly, but she didn't refute Lin Feng's words. Lin Feng said, "I have something good for you." "What is it?" Tong Yali asked doubtfully. Lin Feng took out the 2 immortal essence fruits. "These are the 2 immortal vitality fruits. If you refine them, you will be able to greatly improve your cultivation." After seeing the 2 immortal essence fruits, Tong Yali's eyes immediately lit up. Tong Yali was very clear about the value of the immortal essence fruit. Lin Feng was willing to give such a precious thing to her. This made Tong Yali very happy, because it meant that Lin Feng had her in his heart. He didn't just want to play with her. "Have you refined it?" Tong Yali asked. "I've already refined 3 of them, so there's no point in refining more." "You can refine it without worry," Lin Feng said. Tong Yali said, "My cultivation is limited. Refining 1 immortal essence fruit is my limit. This kind of thing can't be kept for too long, so keep the other one and see if you can exchange it for some treasures with others." Hearing Tong Yali's words, Lin Feng kept the other immortal essence fruit. He didn't intend to exchange it for treasures with others. Lin Feng planned to use this immortal essence fruit to refine a furnace of elixirs. Then, he would distribute the elixirs to Bibi and the others. After Bibi and the others ate the elixirs refined from the immortal essence fruit, it would be of great help to their cultivation. At this time, Tong Yali continued, "Just now, so many people were targeting you, but my master, Fairy Qingyun, didn't do anything. She has her own difficulties, so I hope you won't blame her," said Lin Feng. "Of course not. After all, she's just a stranger to me. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have had any interaction with her. How could I blame her for doing something she didn't know?" Hearing Lin Feng's words, Tong Yali couldn't help but smile bitterly. She didn't know what her master, Fairy Qingyun, would think after hearing Lin Feng's words. "Now go and refine the immortal essence fruit. It's too long. It will affect the efficacy of the immortal essence fruit," Lin Feng said. Tong Yali quickly nodded, then left Lin Feng's place and returned to her own residence. She activated the restriction to protect the cave residents, then ate the immortal essence fruit. Then, she began to use her cultivation method to refine the immortal essence fruit's efficacy. At this time, Long Outyen returned to the cave residence and said with a smile, "Why did the private meeting end so quickly? I gave you enough time and space, so I definitely didn't mean to disturb you, Lin Feng said. I let her refine the immortal essence fruit, so I hope she can smoothly break through to the itinerant immortal realm. Long Outyan said, I think you made a bad move. Why do you say that? Lin Feng asked, looking at Long Outyan with a strange expression. Long Outyan smiled mischievously and said, Do you even need to say it? You should have used the remaining power of your domineering aura to take down that little girl. Lin Feng said speechlessly. Now, I'm really wondering if what you said to me before was true. With your wretched personality, would anyone like you back then? The woman you speak of is also a fictional character, right? Boolsh *T. Long Outyan was like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. He jumped up and said, I'm speaking the truth. I wouldn't joke about something like this. Lin Feng didn't talk much about this topic. Long Outyan also avoided the topic and asked, Now that the Yin-Yang alliance is under our control, what do you plan to do next? Do you want to expand your territory? Lin Feng said, There's no need for that, because we might be able to leave soon. Therefore, there's no need to waste time and energy on these things. I don't care about a small Yin-Yang alliance. If Lu Yu, Wu Daoxian, and the others didn't go overboard, I wouldn't have bothered with them. Long Outyan nodded. 5 days later, Tong Yali came out of seclusion. Above the 9 heavens, lightning lingered. Tong Yali was about to undergo the itinerant immortal tribulation. Tong Yali's tribulation attracted many cultivators to watch. The lightning tribulation was powerful, but it couldn't stop Tong Yali's progress. In the end, Tong Yali smoothly broke through to the itinerant immortal realm. After breaking through to the next realm, the path of cultivation was still very difficult. However, she had entered a whole new level after all. This was something worthy of celebration. 10 days after Tong Yali broke through to the itinerant immortal realm, a subordinate found Lin Feng, saying that he had something important to report. Lin Feng summoned the subordinate, who was a rather young cultivator. He was dressed in purple and looked very handsome. Chapter 4879. The cultivator hurriedly said, Young master, this subordinate is rearing a demonic rat. When the Dragon Sovereign Mountain Range appeared a few days ago, this subordinate wanted to rely on this demonic rat to find some opportunities. However, due to the sudden change in the Dragon Sovereign Mountain Range, this subordinate was separated from the demonic rat. Just now, the demonic rat followed its senses and returned to this subordinate. This subordinate received a shocking piece of news from the demonic rat. What news? Lin Feng looked at the cultivator curiously. The cultivator said, The demonic rat discovered an ancient city in the depths of Dragon Island. Many prehistoric dragon clan and living beings of the dragon clan have gathered outside the ancient city. What? There's such a thing? Lin Feng could not help but be shocked. Long Outyan said, Could it be the ancient city that was summoned by the dragon clan? Lin Feng said, It must be that ancient city. So many cultivators were sacrificed to summon the ancient city. I wonder how extraordinary that ancient city is. Speaking of which, I wonder if the prehistoric dragon sovereign passed away in that ancient city? If that ancient city contains the legacy of the prehistoric dragon sovereign, then it would be shocking. At this moment, Lin Feng had already stood up and was pacing back and forth. This was an extremely important piece of news. Lin Feng was naturally very interested in exploring that ancient city. Where is that ancient city? Lin Feng asked. The cultivator said, The direction of that ancient city is in the direction of the Dragon Sovereign Mountain. However, that ancient city is in a deeper place. Long Outyan looked at Lin Feng and said, If that's the case, that little purple dragon did not lie to us. Lin Feng said, That should be the case. This news is very important. You've done a great service. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng waved his hand and 5 million immortal stones flew out. Here are 5 million immortal stones. Take it as your reward. After seeing the 5 rivers of immortal stones, the cultivator's eyes widened. This was the first time he had seen so many immortal stones. And now, these immortal stones were all his. Thank you, young master! Thank you, young master! The cultivator quickly knelt on the ground and thanked Lin Feng profusely. 5,000,000 immortal stones. To him, it was equivalent to a great opportunity. If he left Dragon Island now, he would have no regrets. Lin Feng waved his hand. The cultivator understood tacitly and quickly retreated. Autian said, "There are many prehistoric dragon clan and living beings of Dragon Island outside the ancient city. It's no different from sending us to our deaths." Aotian said Lin Feng. "I have a plan." "What plan?" Aotian asked curiously. "Spread the news. The other forces will definitely check it out after they get the news. Once the news is verified to be true, those big forces will take action. The prehistoric dragon tribe and the creatures of Dragon Island will definitely fight with those cultivators. At that time, both sides will suffer great losses. At that time, we can take action. If we take action at this time, I think it will be extremely advantageous for us." Lin Feng said his idea. Aotian said, "That's a good idea." Lin Feng said, "If you think it's a good idea, I'll get someone to do it. We need to recruit as many experts as we can during this time. They will come in handy when we go to the ancient city." Long Aotian nodded and said, "Let me handle this matter." "All right, go and give the order. At the same time, restrain the cultivators of the Yin-Yang Alliance. If the news spreads, the cultivators of the Yin-Yang Alliance are not allowed to go out and fight against the dragons and the creatures of Dragon Island." "I understand." Aotian nodded and left. Lin Feng transmitted his voice to the Demon Lord. "Demon Lord, I have an immortal vitality fruit. Do you have the formula to refine a top-grade immortal medicine?" "I do have a formula. The main ingredient is the immortal vitality fruit, but it still needs thousands of supplementary ingredients. If it is refined into a pill, it will be very useful for cultivation," Demon Lord said. Lin Feng was overjoyed. He hurriedly said, "Then hurry up and tell me the formula you know. I'll go and find the herbs I need." Demon Lord nodded and sent some information into Lin Feng's mind. That information was the information about the prescription. The Demon Lord said the pill was called the Immortal Vitality Pill. Other than the main ingredient, the Immortal Vitality Fruit, it also needed 32 other immortal herbs. There were also 3,400 other types of spiritual herbs. Lin Feng planted all kinds of immortal herbs and spiritual herbs in his space-time. There were also some immortal herbs and spiritual herbs that he had collected. Lin Feng searched for a while and gathered most of the spiritual herbs and immortal herbs. However, he still lacked a dozen spiritual herbs and 3 immortal herbs. Lin Feng looked for Wu Daoxian and asked her to help him collect the celestial and spiritual herbs he needed. Wu Daoxian's ability to get things done was still very strong. He successfully gathered all the immortal herbs and spiritual herbs that Lin Feng needed. Lin Feng said, "Demon Lord, help me refine a batch of immortal essence pills." If he could refine it himself, Lin Feng would have done it himself. Right now, Lin Feng's alchemy skills had been abandoned for a long time. Therefore, with his own methods, it was naturally impossible for him to successfully refine the immortal essence pill. Therefore, Lin Feng could only borrow the power of the Demon Lord to refine the immortal essence pill. The Demon Lord did not delay there. He said, "It will take 49 days to form the pill." "All right," Lin Feng replied. The Demon Lord entered the space-time. Lin Feng took out the black flame god devouring fire and helped the Demon Lord refine the immortal essence pill. 49 days had passed in the space-time, but only 5 days had passed outside. As for Lin Feng, he did not enter the space-time, so he did not need to wait that long to see the immortal essence pill. While the Demon Lord was refining the immortal essence pill, the news about the ancient city in the depths of the city quickly spread. The various alliances and many rogue cultivators had heard of this news. After this news spread, it could be said to have caused a huge uproar. Of course, when this news first came out, many people looked at it with a skeptical attitude. However, many great powers had secretly sent people to investigate the truth of this matter. Many cultivators were killed by the patrolling prehistoric dragon race and the creatures of Dragon Island, but there were also some cultivators who entered the depths. Moreover, they returned without a hitch. Those cultivators brought back astonishing news. In the depths of the area, an incomparably huge ancient city had really appeared. Chapter 4880. Now that the news of the ancient city's appearance was confirmed to be true, the upper echelons of the major forces began to gather their experts. They planned to rush to the ancient city in the depths. Because the experts of the major forces felt that there must be a great opportunity hidden in the depths of the ancient city. In addition to the great opportunity, the way out of Dragon Island might be in the depths of the ancient city. For example, if there was a teleportation formation in the depths of the ancient city that led to the outside world. If everyone found the teleportation formation, they would be able to leave Dragon Island through it. Naturally, no one wanted to be trapped in Dragon Island forever. Such a place was simply maddening. Therefore, everyone was looking forward to the trip to the ancient city, even though they knew that the trip to the ancient city was extremely dangerous. However, the trip to the ancient city was imperative. When the cultivators of the major forces were rushing to the depths of Dragon Island, Lin Feng ordered the cultivators of the Yin-Yang Alliance to stay put for the time being. During this period of time, many powerful cultivators of the Yin-Yang Alliance had joined them one after another. Those cultivators basically came to join the Yin-Yang Alliance after hearing that there were 2 more top-notch experts in the Yin-Yang Alliance. Other than that, the major forces began to march to the depths of Dragon Island. Therefore, many cultivators who did not join the major forces also chose to join the major forces at this time. It was so that they could work together at this time. Dragon Island became extremely restless. The cultivators and the prehistoric dragon tribe and the living beings of Dragon Island fought again. In fact, most of the prehistoric dragon tribe and the living beings of Dragon Island had already entered the depths of the ancient city. Only a small portion of the prehistoric dragon tribe and the living beings of Dragon Island were left patrolling outside. Therefore, this small portion of the prehistoric dragon tribe and the living beings of Dragon Island could not stop the major forces at all. After an intense battle, the prehistoric dragon tribe and the living beings of Dragon Island suffered heavy casualties. Only a small portion of the prehistoric dragon tribe and the living beings of Dragon Island retreated to the ancient city. Of course, after the previous battle, the major forces also suffered heavy losses. Fortunately, everything was still under control. When the major forces arrived outside the ancient city, the major forces and the prehistoric dragon tribe and the living beings of Dragon Island broke out into another battle again. The prehistoric dragon tribe and the living beings of Dragon Island obviously did not want the cultivators of the major forces to enter the ancient city. Perhaps they felt that these foreign cultivators would snatch away the opportunity that originally belonged to them. Therefore, the prehistoric dragon tribe and the living beings of Dragon Island were very hostile to the foreign cultivators. The battle between the two sides was very intense, and it was difficult to tell who would win. In the end, the battle ended with both sides suffering heavy losses. Regardless of whether it was the cultivators of the various major powers or the prehistoric dragon clan and the creatures of the Dragon Island, they all suffered heavy losses. In the end, both sides chose to stop the battle. They could not continue fighting. If the battle continued, the losses would be even more disastrous, and neither side would be able to accept it. Both sides tacitly chose to stop fighting, and then stayed in 2 separate areas. This area was the gathering place of many major forces and rogue cultivators. The other area was the prehistoric dragon tribe, where the living beings of the Dragon Island gathered. The ancient city had yet to open, so they could only continue to wait. The restriction surrounding the ancient city was a kind of dark restriction, and it was unknown what kind of restriction it was. That kind of dark restriction was very terrifying, emitting a gloomy and terrifying aura. Sensing the aura of darkness, many cultivators could not help but feel a chill run down their spines. In fact, until now, only a vague outline of the ancient city could be seen. This was because the darkness restriction outside had concealed the true situation inside. As time passed, the power of the restriction was quickly dissipating. After about 3 days, the ancient city finally appeared in everyone's sight. On the walls of the ancient city, cultivator corpses were nailed to the ground one after another. When they saw this scene, many people were incomparably shocked. Did a peak battle happen in the ancient city in the past? Who are those corpses? Many people could not help but talk to themselves. This ancient city was very mysterious, and no one knew what ancient city it was. But judging from the cultivators that were nailed to the ground outside, there was definitely an unimaginable battle in the past. Or else, so many cultivators would not have been nailed to the ground. Look, it's a god-fiend. A cultivator pointed in a direction. Everyone looked over and saw a god-fiend corpse. It was a god-fiend with 3 heads and 6 arms. It was definitely a terrifying god-fiend. However, his body was pierced by arrows one after another. There were many arrows on his 3 heads, 6 arms, legs, and torso. The other living beings were the same. There were many arrows on their bodies. That female cultivator is so beautiful, Yifutian murmured. Someone pointed at one of the corpses. Everyone looked over and saw a peerless beauty. She was a peerless beauty dressed in white. She was so beautiful that it was suffocating. However, an ancient bronze sword pierced through her chest and nailed her to the wall. Such a peerless beauty had died just like that. It really made people feel that it was a pity. That bronze sword is a supreme treasure, a cultivator said. His eyes were fixed on the bronze sword, and he could not look away. It seemed that the bronze sword was indeed an extremely powerful treasure. No one knew who had left it behind. Look, that person has a human body and a dragon's head. Is that the legendary half-dragon? Then, another cultivator pointed at a dead cultivator. Everyone looked over and saw the slain cultivator. The slain cultivator was indeed very strange. A human body and a dragon's head. It seemed that he really was a half-dragon from the legends. It was said that half-dragons were the offspring of the dragon race and the human race. Some half-dragons had a human body and a dragon's head, but some were not. There were many different forms of half-dragons. However, half-dragons were very powerful. They could use the supreme godfiends passed down by the dragon race. They also had the intelligence of humans. Therefore, although there weren't many draconians in the history of this epic, each draconians was extremely powerful and terrifying. Heavens, those beings nailed to the wall are each more terrifying than the last. Each of them has a greater origin than the last. Don't tell me that they were once godfiends or godfiends, a cultivator said in horror. This ancient city was from the prehistoric era, and it was still the era of the titled gods. Therefore, the experts of this era were either godfiends or godfiends, not the immortals of this era. Although they did not like the name, their strength was actually the same. How powerful were the godfiends of the titled gods? At the very least, they were equivalent to the current true immortals. However, such powerful beings were still nailed to the wall of this ancient city. Chapter 4881. The scene of so many gods and devils being nailed to the ground shocked everyone present. The origin of this ancient city was very puzzling. However, the restriction was still rapidly dissipating. Once the restriction was completely gone, they might be able to find out the origin of this ancient city. After a few more days, the ancient city's restrictions finally disappeared. The ancient city completely appeared in everyone's sight. Even the words on the ancient city walls could be seen clearly. The words on the ancient city were very mysterious. They seemed to be ancient dragon runes. After seeing the words, many people were shocked. The ancient city's name was written in the language of the dragon race. Didn't this mean that this ancient city was actually built by a dragon expert? Could this be the imperial city built by the dragon emperor in the past? A cultivator asked. In the past, the dragon emperor had built an eternal imperial city. But with the disappearance of the prehistoric dragon emperor, the imperial city also disappeared. No one knew why the imperial city disappeared. For countless years, people had been searching for the imperial city built by the dragon emperor, but there were no clues. However, after seeing this ancient city, some people felt that it might really be the imperial city built by the Dragon Emperor. However, they couldn't be sure. At this time, an old man said, "This ancient city is called the Holy Dragon City." Hearing the old cultivator's words, everyone grew shocked. The old cultivator was actually able to recognize the ancient Dragon Clan characters. It really is an ancient city built by the Dragon Emperor. I read some introduction in a Tao scripture. The imperial city built by the Dragon Emperor was called the Holy Dragon City. At this time, another cultivator spoke. After hearing the cultivator's words, everyone was shocked. Then, they were pleasantly surprised. The Holy Dragon City that had disappeared for countless years had actually reappeared. The Dragon Emperor must have passed away in the Holy Dragon City. There must be many opportunities in the Holy Dragon City. Thinking of this, many people couldn't help but become very excited. Is this the final battlefield of the past? Are the gods and devils nailed to the ancient city walls the experts of the Dragon Emperor's side? A cultivator asked, voicing the doubts in his heart. Many people felt that this was indeed a possibility. Back then, the Dragon Emperor was very powerful and had many experts under his command. Moreover, it was rumored that the prehistoric Dragon Emperor was a forthright person, so he made many friends. When the prehistoric Dragon Clan suffered a calamity, there were bound to be many who stood on the side of the prehistoric Dragon Emperor. However, the final result was an incomparably tragic one. Those gods and devils who supported the prehistoric Dragon Emperor were also killed. Furthermore, the corpse was nailed to the city wall. It was too tragic. The Holy Dragon City was originally in the Dragon World, but now it has appeared on the Dragon Island. I reckon that the prehistoric Dragon Emperor had moved the Holy Dragon City to the Dragon Island. Some cultivators continued, speculating about some of the things that happened back then. Let's go and collect the magic treasures that nailed those cultivators to death, a cultivator said. He had been eyeing those magic treasures for a long time, even though many magic treasures had been destroyed with the passage of time. However, there were still many magic treasures that contained powerful fluctuations. The power of those magic treasures was still very strong. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. One by one, the cultivators soared into the sky and flew towards the treasures they desired. The cultivator at the front was a cultivator with a pair of wings. He was a cultivator from the Silverwing race. It was an extremely powerful and ancient race. The utmost treasure that the Silverwing race cultivator desired was the bronze sword that had pierced through the chest of that peerless fairy. That bronze sword was definitely an utmost treasure that was coveted by many. The Silverwing race cultivator arrived before the bronze sword and stretched out his hand to grab it. However, at this moment, the bronze sword vibrated and emitted an extremely terrifying killing intent. All of the killing intent surged towards the Silverwing race cultivator. The Silverwing race cultivator had a horrified look on his face as he retreated hastily, wanting to avoid the attack of the killing intent. However, it was already too late. The terrifying killing intent shrouded the Silverwing race cultivator instantly. At the moment of crisis, the Silverwing race cultivator took out a defensive magic treasure. However, his defensive magic treasure was instantly destroyed by the terrifying killing intent. Thereafter, that terrifying killing intent tore the Silverwing race cultivator apart instantly. At the sight of this, many people let out a horrified expression. However, there were also some people who were brave enough and did not retreat in fear. They continued to do as they wished and rushed towards the treasures that they desired. After that, they wanted to pluck those treasures. However, a tragedy happened. One after another, the cultivators who wanted to pluck the treasures were killed by the various attacks that were sent out by the treasures. Oh my God! Aren't those treasures way too powerful? Countless years have passed. Logically speaking, the killing intent of those treasures should have been retracted a long time ago. There's also no one who has activated those treasures. Why are they still so powerful? This is way too strange. Many cultivators started discussing fervently. All of them had extremely ugly expressions on their faces. There were so many powerful treasures. Every single one of those treasures was enough to make one drool. However, Everyone could only look at those treasures with their eyes wide open. There was no way they could get their hands on those treasures. This was equivalent to looking at a mountain of treasures but not being able to get a single item from within. From this, it could be seen that those cultivators must be feeling extremely depressed right now. At this moment, some of the cultivators had their sights set on some of the corpses. Those corpses still had storage rings. Furthermore, the treasures that were used to pin them down had already been turned into mortal weapons. Therefore, when they approached those corpses, they did not have to worry about being attacked by those treasures. There were quite a number of cultivators who had this thought. Those cultivators rushed over one after another. However, when they approached the corpses, their bodies began to age rapidly. Their bodies began to age rapidly. In the blink of an eye, the cultivators had turned into old men. Many people retreated in horror, but it was too late. Their lifespan had been completely stripped away. Their bodies fell to the ground and they died on the spot. Countless people gasped. This was even more frightening than when they were attacked by the treasures earlier. Their lifespan was instantly stripped away. It was simply too unbelievable. It's the power of the law of time. No wonder those treasures were destroyed. Those dead cultivators might have been infused with the power of the law of time, causing the treasures that nailed them to be destroyed quickly. Everyone, please don't go near those corpses again. A cultivator reminded them. With so many terrifying things happening, it was only natural that no one dared to go near those corpses again. As for those treasures and the storage rings of those experts, no one dared to have any ideas about those things. Open Holy Dragon City. Let's enter and take a look. There must be a lot of opportunities in Holy Dragon City, an expert said. Following that, a large number of cultivators rushed toward the city gates of Holy Dragon City. Rumble! 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 Chapter 4882. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. After the Holy Spirit City's gates were pushed open, a large number of cultivators flew into the city. Rumble! 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 The earth was shaking violently. Those prehistoric dragons and living beings of the Dragon Island were also rushing towards the Holy Dragon City. Their bodies were too huge, so they caused a huge commotion when they ran. Even the earth was shaking. The cultivators, prehistoric dragon tribe, and Dragon Island beings all rushed into the city. The streets of the Holy Dragon City were extremely wide. There were many shops on both sides. The city had obviously gone through a great battle, so many of them were damaged. The cultivators who had entered the Holy Dragon City rushed towards the surrounding courtyards. Soon, some cultivators exclaimed. They found a large number of dragon crystals in many mansions' treasure vaults. Those dragon crystals were high-grade dragon crystals, equivalent to high-grade immortal stones. They were very valuable. Apart from the dragon crystals, there were many other good things, such as heavenly treasures, immortal iron, immortal stones, various forging materials, various dharma treasures, and so on. Those who could live in the Holy Dragon City in the past were either the top experts of the prehistoric dragon tribe or those with shocking wealth. After all, the Holy Dragon City was extremely prosperous, and was a place where experts gathered. However, after the battle in the past, the experts of the Holy Dragon City fell one after another. However, many good things were still preserved until now. Those treasures were enough to drive people crazy. The prehistoric dragon tribe and Dragon Island beings did not seem to be interested in those treasures. They all rushed into the depths of the Holy Spirit City. The cultivators from the outside forces began to snatch all kinds of treasures. In the beginning, they were very united. After all, they had to fight the prehistoric dragon tribe and Dragon Island beings together. But now, those forces were completely bloodthirsty. In order to snatch resources, they had already shed all pretenses. They even fought with the cultivators of an alliance. That was because those alliances were only formed temporarily. They were formed by cultivators from many different forces. As the saying went, the world was noisy for benefits. When faced with huge benefits, it was normal for the cultivators of the major alliances to fight among themselves. Many times, brothers or even father and son would turn against each other for benefits. Therefore, the world of cultivators was sometimes not only cruel, but also lacking in human emotions. It would have been fine if there had been top-notch experts restraining them. However, those top-notch experts had already rushed into the depths of Holy Dragon City. Without any restraints, the cultivators of the various major forces had already gone on a killing spree. At that moment, a large number of cultivators poured into the Holy Dragon City. Compared to the cultivators from the other forces, these cultivators appeared to be in an orderly manner. There were about 3,000 cultivators in total. He swept through everything in his way. They snatched away a large amount of treasures. These cultivators were from the Yin-Yang Alliance. The cultivators of the other forces were already exhausted after a series of battles. However, the cultivators of the Yin-Yang Alliance had never participated in any major battles. Therefore, the soldiers were strong and the horses were strong. Wherever it passed, it was like the autumn wind sweeping away the fallen leaves. The Yin-Yang Alliance cultivators had snatched away all the treasures that they failed to obtain. As for the treasures that were snatched away, they would either have to hand them over or be killed by the Yin-Yang Alliance cultivators and have their treasures snatched away by them. The world of cultivators was an incomparably cruel world. With a single thought, millions of corpses lay on the ground, and rivers of blood flowed. Lin Feng was used to the deception of the world of cultivators. His heart had long turned extremely cold. Lin Feng led the army all the way into the depths of the city. Along the way, everyone obtained a large amount of treasures. Therefore, many people were extremely excited. Everyone was extremely impressed with Lin Feng. If it wasn't for Lin Feng, how could they have obtained so many treasures? At that moment, many powerful cultivators, the prehistoric dragon tribe, and the living beings of Dragon Island had rushed into the depths of the palace. A large amount of dragon chi was rolling in the palace. The prehistoric dragon tribe and the living beings of Dragon Island were devouring the dragon chi. After devouring a large amount of dragon chi, the bodies of the prehistoric dragon tribe and the living beings of Dragon Island actually changed. It was as if some shackles in their bodies had been unlocked. Then, many of the prehistoric dragon tribe and the living beings of Dragon Island directly transformed into their human forms. Ha ha ha, I've recovered. I've finally recovered. The prehistoric Tyrannosaurus King transformed into a 3-meter-tall burly man. This guy had previously chased after Lin Feng and Long Outyen. His body floated in midair. He felt his own power and the curse that had disappeared. The prehistoric Tyrannosaurus King became extremely excited. It was no wonder that these prehistoric dragon tribe were so eager to enter the Holy Dragon City. The Holy Dragon City could break the curse that had been imposed on them for countless years. It could allow them to recover. When the foreign cultivators saw the restored prehistoric dragon tribe and the living beings of Dragon Island, they couldn't help but reveal a shocked expression. However, there was no great battle between the two sides. They all flew into the depths of the city. Roar! A loud dragon roar resounded through the clouds. A palm-sized dragon flew out from the depths. The dragon soul is the immortal dragon soul of the prehistoric dragon emperor. It contains unimaginable power. If it is refined, it will have an unimaginable effect on one's cultivation, an expert exclaimed. His eyes were filled with greed. Many dragon kings, beast kings, true immortals among the foreign cultivators, the moon god, the son of the eastern emperor, the great demon Yu, the blood-haired woman, Huang Fuqing Tian, the Chu family's patriarch, the Baji Palace, the floating cloud palace, and other top experts from various forces all rushed toward the dragon soul left behind by the prehistoric dragon emperor. The dragon soul of the prehistoric dragon emperor was enough to make people go crazy. Many cultivators began to fight in the void. The scene became extremely chaotic. At this moment, an army charged toward them. The leader was Lin Feng, who was holding the Inferno Fiend's spear. Beside Lin Feng were Long Outyen, the two evil god stone statues, Wu Daoxian, and other true immortals. Behind them was an army of quasi-true immortals, sky immortals, earth immortals, human immortals, itinerant immortals, and Emperor Realm cultivators. Kill! Lin Feng waved the war spear in his hand. More than 3,000 cultivators attacked at the same time. Terrifying attacks gathered together. It turned into a torrent of attacks. The expressions of many experts who were originally tangled up in the chaotic battle changed drastically. Even a large number of ants could bite an elephant to death, let alone so many powerful cultivators joining forces to unleash an attack. Even peak true immortals didn't dare to underestimate such a powerful attack. Many experts dodged one after another. Lin Feng took advantage of this opportunity and took out the sky-swallowing jar. Chapter 4883. Lin Feng! You're courting death! Some experts recognized Lin Feng and couldn't help but roar in anger. Everyone, let's disperse! Lin Feng put away the heaven-devouring jar and the two evil god-stone statues. Then, he said to the Yin-Yang Alliance cultivators behind him. Then, he turned around and flew into the distance. The Yin-Yang Alliance cultivators had already obtained enough benefits. When they saw Lin Feng leave after collecting the dragon's soul, they dispersed in an uproar. Lin Feng sent a voice transmission to Long Outyen and Wu Daoxian, telling them to look for him in the Sin realm. At the same time, he sent a voice transmission to Tong Yali, telling her to stay by Fairy Qingyun's side and that he would look for her after leaving the Dragon Island. Lin Feng didn't leave with them because if he took them with him, it would be too difficult to escape. Those top experts didn't even care about the cultivators who had scattered in an uproar. They didn't have the time to care about those people. A group of top experts quickly chased after Lin Feng, trying to catch up with Lin Feng. There were so many experts, including terrifying existences like the moon god. Lin Feng didn't dare to stay for even a moment. Therefore, Lin Feng pushed his speed to the limit. At the same time, he merged with the power of the space Tao. Even experts like the moon god couldn't catch up with Lin Feng. In the end, Lin Feng shook off the group of experts. As for whether there were other opportunities in the Holy Dragon City, Lin Feng didn't care. Even if there were other opportunities, Lin Feng didn't want to snatch them. Lin Feng was already very satisfied with obtaining the dragon's soul left behind by the prehistoric Dragon Emperor. Now that the prehistoric dragon tribe and the living beings of the Dragon Island have broken the curse, perhaps the restrictions of the Dragon Island have been activated. Let's see if we can leave the Dragon Island! The Demon Lord's voice rang in Lin Feng's mind. When Lin Feng heard him, he nodded. He didn't stop on the way and quickly flew out. When they arrived at the seaside, Lin Feng saw that the dense lightning in the distance had begun to dissipate. The area covered by the space-time power was quickly returning to normal. The lightning and space-time energy that enveloped the Dragon Island is about to disperse. The Dragon Island is really going to see the light of day again. Roar, roar, roar! Many prehistoric dragons and creatures of the Dragon Island seemed to have sensed something and quickly rushed out. Those prehistoric dragons and the creatures of the Dragon Island changed back to their original form after a short period of time. Their roar shook the heavens. They were incomparably excited now, because they yearned for freedom very much. In this world, who doesn't long for freedom? Any living being would yearn for freedom. Lin Feng even saw the sea dragon rushing out of the sea from time to time. Its huge body gave people a shocking feeling. This was a shock that originated from the soul. The sea dragon let out a low roar from time to time. The sea dragon was also very excited. It was the king of the sea, but it had been trapped in this place for too long. Now, it finally saw the hope of entering the boundless sea. It liked to soar in the vast sea. That was true freedom, unrestrained and unrestrained. Many cultivators also flew out one after another, waiting for the restriction to completely disperse before leaving the Dragon Island. Of course, there were also many cultivators who didn't come out. In fact, there were many opportunities on the Dragon Island, and many cultivators were reluctant to leave. They wanted to continue looking for opportunities on the Dragon Island. In addition to the opportunities on the Dragon Island, there was also the mysterious and ancient Holy Dragon City. There were also many opportunities there. Lin Feng heard some news that there were many powerful restrictions in the depths of the Holy Dragon City's palace. Those restrictions were very difficult to break. Some cultivators were trying to break the restrictions there, wanting to enter. But for now, they couldn't open the restrictions there. Many people suspected that the prehistoric Dragon Emperor had passed away in the area covered by the restrictions. The dragon soul that Lin Feng obtained previously flew out from there. Because of this, many cultivators felt that there were heaven-defying opportunities in that place. Lin Feng waited in the outer area for 5 or 6 days. Finally, the lightning and space-time energy that enveloped the dragon island completely dissipated. Blue waves rippled around him. The blue seawater reflected a dazzling brilliance under the sun. "We can go out! We can go out!" Many cultivators shouted excitedly. Many people had obtained opportunities on the Dragon Island. If they left now, their gains would be big enough. Naturally, they didn't want to continue staying on the Dragon Island. Although they wanted to leave the Dragon Island immediately, after thinking of the terrifying sea dragon, they didn't act for the time being. At least they had to wait until the sea dragon left before they dared to act. Splash! At this moment, the huge sea dragon rushed out of the sea. The sea rolled. Huge waves surged. The mountain-like body fell into the sea, splashing huge waves. The sea dragon quickly swam into the distance. Its speed was extremely fast. It didn't take long for the sea dragon's figure to disappear. After the sea dragon left, everyone couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. The Mosasaurus put too much pressure on everyone. Now the sea dragon had left. Many prehistoric dragons, living beings of the Dragon Island, and many cultivators quickly flew out of the Dragon Island. Lin Feng soared into the sky and also quickly flew out of the Dragon Island. This was a place of trouble, and it wasn't good to stay for long. Lin Feng didn't see Immeasurable Taoist, Du Zhu, and the others after entering the Dragon Island. He didn't know where they went. However, Lin Feng wasn't worried about Immeasurable Taoist and the others. The only thing he was worried about was Tong Yali. However, Tong Yali was with Fairy Qingyun and the others, so she shouldn't be in danger. Lin Feng left the Dragon Island and immediately brought out the Xianyuan Ancient Starry Sky ship. He entered the Ancient Starry Sky ship. The Xianyuan Ancient Starry Sky ship had now given birth to a complete ship spirit. It only needed to give orders and no longer needed others to control it. Lin Feng sat cross-legged in the cabin and took out the dragon's soul left behind by the prehistoric Dragon Emperor. Lin Feng couldn't help but take a deep breath. The dragon's soul was very precious. He wondered what would happen after refining the dragon's soul. Roar! The dragon's soul let out a deep dragon roar as its pair of dragon eyes stared at Lin Feng. Now that the dragon's soul was sealed by Lin Feng, it couldn't fly away. Lin Feng took a deep breath and began to refine the dragon's soul. Time passed quickly. Refining the dragon's soul wasn't an easy task. Even with Lin Feng's means, he still couldn't refine the dragon's soul. It wasn't until a month later that Lin Feng gradually communicated with the dragon's soul. The dragon's soul was very special. It was refined by the prehistoric Dragon Emperor by fusing his own origin power and a part of his will. It didn't contain the prehistoric Dragon Emperor's will. Therefore, anyone would have the opportunity to refine the dragon's soul. After Lin Feng refined the dragon's soul, it entered Lin Feng's dantian. Lin Feng could sense how terrifying the power contained in the dragon's soul was. It seemed to have surpassed the power of the Nine-Orifice stone clone. Lin Feng revealed an extremely shocked expression. After refining the dragon's soul, it began to feed Lin Feng a powerful energy. Lin Feng's cultivation realm quickly broke through to the 10th heavenly layer of the loose immortal realm. Moreover, it continued to soar. It didn't take long for him to break through to the peak of the loose immortal realm. However, the dragon's soul continued to feed Lin Feng. Powerful energy continuously surged out of the dragon's soul and was finally absorbed by Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng felt his cultivation realm becoming restless again. Am I going to break through to the human immortal realm? Lin Feng couldn't help but reveal a look of joy. 5 days later, Lin Feng's forehead flashed with the dazzling light of tribulation. He walked out of the ancient starship Xianyuan. Chapter 4884. Outside was a world of white fog. Lin Feng had been cultivating in seclusion. Therefore, when he saw the rolling white fog, Lin Feng was a little surprised. He didn't know if the ancient starry sky ship Xianyuan had deviated from its course. Of course, Lin Feng didn't care about this now. What he cared about the most was the tribulation. Now, he was about to cross the human immortal tribulation. If he succeeded, he would reach the human immortal realm. This trip to Dragon Island was really a great harvest for Lin Feng. First was the breakthrough in his realm. Secondly, Lin Feng obtained the dragon soul left behind by the prehistoric dragon emperor. The dragon soul was absolutely terrifying. It should have only recovered a part of its power. But even so, the battle strength of the dragon soul had surpassed Lin Feng's 9 orifice stone avatar. If the dragon soul's battle strength was fully recovered, it was unknown how powerful it would be. Of course, if Lin Feng could smoothly break through to the human immortal realm, the battle strength of the dragon soul would be even greater. Lin Feng guessed that the recovery of the dragon soul's battle strength was closely related to his own realm. Just like the ruler's armor and the golden dwarf in Lin Feng's dantian. The stronger Lin Feng's battle strength was, the more powerful the ruler's armor and the golden dwarf in Lin Feng's dantian would be. Soon, the first lightning tribulation struck down. It was as thick as a mountain, but Lin Feng didn't fear it at all. He directly soared into the sky and let the lightning tribulation strike his body. When the terrifying lightning tribulation struck Lin Feng's body didn't suffer any damage at all. The lightning tribulation would only temper Lin Feng's body, making Lin Feng's body stronger and stronger. In the next 3 months, all kinds of terrifying lightning tribulations fell from the sky. The lightning tribulations became more terrifying as time went on, especially the last dozens of lightning tribulations. The power it contained was enough to destroy the heaven and earth. Even Lin Feng couldn't help but be moved. However, Lin Feng wasn't afraid of the lightning tribulation. When the lightning tribulation struck his body, Lin Feng successfully withstood all of them. Although in the end, Lin Feng's body also suffered a great deal of damage. Fortunately, he successfully passed all the lightning tribulations. Lin Feng also successfully broke through to the human immortal realm. Lin Feng's realm stopped at the first layer of human immortal realm. At this moment, Lin Feng was floating above the sea. He was panting heavily. Looking at the dissipating lightning sea and the drifting white mist, Lin Feng couldn't help but reveal a pure smile. It was really good to be alive. After resting for a while, Lin Feng quickly recovered some of his magic power. Then, he channeled his immortal godly physique. Lin Feng's injuries gradually recovered. The injuries caused by the lightning tribulation were very terrible. Not only was it a great injury to the body, but it would also harm the cultivator's origin, grand Tao, divine soul, and other things. It was absolutely impossible to not be injured. Even if Lin Feng was injured, these injuries could be slowly healed. After returning to the Xianyuan ancient starship, Lin Feng went into seclusion to recover. It took about 10 days for Lin Feng to fully recover. This made Lin Feng let out a sigh of relief. He had finally recovered. Sensing the formidable strength of the human immortal realm, the corners of his mouth couldn't help but reveal a trace of a smile. The human immortal realm really wasn't something that the loose immortal realm could compare to. Compared to the loose immortal realm, the fighting strength of this realm had greatly increased. Lin Feng got up and went to the deck. After seeing the situation outside, Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. The white mist was still rolling outside. It had been some time since they entered this fog-shrouded area, so the surrounding visibility was quite low. Therefore, the Xianyuan ancient starship was now lost in this fog-shrouded sea. Lin Feng took out a compass to locate the location. The needle of the compass spun rapidly, and after a dozen or so revolutions, the compass shattered. After seeing this scene, Lin Feng couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. What a powerful magnetic field! It actually destroyed the compass. It seemed that this place was really not simple. No wonder the Xianyuan ancient starship was lost in this sea. Lin Feng couldn't help stroking his chin. Now that the Xianyuan ancient starship was lost, the next step would be somewhat difficult. Lin Feng took out the heart compass and then called out the sacred Martin Immortal. "Why did you call me?" The sacred Martin Immortal looked at Lin Feng and asked. "Help me determine the direction," Lin Feng said. "I need an equivalent exchange," the sacred Martin Immortal said. "Equivalent exchange your ass. I'm not asking the heart compass to lead me to a specific target. I just want it to determine the north, south, east, and west. If you can't do that, I don't mind smashing the heart compass," Lin Feng said fiercely. The sacred Martin Immortal said. "Don't be so violent. Fine. I'll help you for free today." As soon as his voice fell, the needle on the heart compass spun rapidly. The heart compass needle spun as fast as lightning. Finally, the heart compass needle stopped. Then, the sacred Martin Immortal pointed in the direction they were sailing and said, "We're sailing south." "Oh? That's the direction south. If we keep going south, we'll reach the White Bone region," Lin Feng said. Then, he put away the heart compass. The Xianyuan ancient starship continued to sail through the white fog. When night fell, Lin Feng heard the sound of fighting ahead. Lin Feng walked out of the Xianyuan ancient starship and put it away. Then, he flew towards the place where the sound of fighting was coming from. When Lin Feng arrived, he saw more than a dozen cultivators besieging a female cultivator. That female cultivator was the mysterious female cultivator Lin Feng had seen on the Dragon Island before. Lin Feng felt a sense of déjà vu from this female cultivator. However, Lin Feng could not remember where he had seen this female cultivator before. The creatures besieging this female cultivator were very tyrannical. What surprised Lin Feng was that the creatures besieging this female cultivator were actually a group of evil spirit warriors. When Lin Feng had gone to the soft water shrine, he had encountered evil spirit warriors. They were the terrifying creatures of the Mastermind's world. Chapter 4885. One evil spirit warrior was already extremely difficult to deal with, let alone so many of them. With so many evil spirit warriors gathered together, the murderous aura was dense and terrifying to the extreme. However, that mysterious woman was actually able to resist the siege of evil spirit warriors, which showed how powerful she was. Not everyone could withstand the siege of the evil spirit warriors. Moreover, the battle strength of this group of evil spirit warriors was so heaven-defying that it was even more difficult to resist their siege. "This woman is really powerful," Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh. At this time, the group of evil spirit warriors strengthened their attack. After all, there were too many of them. Under the siege of a group of evil spirit warriors, that woman was able to resist the siege of those evil spirit warriors for a short period of time. But after a long time, she gradually showed signs of fatigue. Lin Feng planned to help that woman. Those evil spirit warriors deserved to die. He took out the Hou Yi bow and sun-shot divine arrow. Then, he pulled the bow and shot. A swoosh sound was heard. The sun-shot divine arrow quickly flew out and shot towards the evil spirit warrior. The speed of the sun-shot divine arrow was too fast. When the sun-shot divine arrow shot to the side of that evil spirit warrior, only then did that evil spirit warrior realize that the Hou Yi bow was shooting towards him. However, at this time, it was too late to dodge. Puff! Accompanied by a tearing sound, the sun-shot divine arrow pierced through the evil spirit warrior's body. Then, that evil spirit warrior's corpse fell into the sea. The waves surged and instantly drowned that evil spirit warrior. "Go and kill that kid!" the leader of the evil spirit warriors coldly said. Immediately, 4 evil spirit warriors quickly rushed towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng put away the Hou Yi bow and sun-shot divine arrow. Then, he took out the wooden sword that his ancestor, the Master of Gods, made and charged towards the 4 evil spirit warriors. Lin Feng's spiritual power continuously poured into the wooden sword. The runes on the wooden sword were instantly activated. Each rune contained terrifying power. Those runes shook the void. It emitted a power that made one's heart palpitate. Although it was only a wooden sword, the power of this wooden sword was extremely terrifying. Lin Feng still remembered the last time he fought the evil spirit warrior with the immeasurable Taoist. At that time, they were no match for the evil spirit warrior. However, when Lin Feng took out his wooden sword, he easily killed the evil spirit warrior. Because the wooden sword was very special, it could restrain the creatures of the mastermind's world. Therefore, when he saw the 4 evil spirit warriors charging at him at high speed, Lin Feng's face suddenly showed a cold expression. The 4 evil spirit warriors were nothing in Lin Feng's eyes. "Despicable human cultivator, die!" The ghost warrior at the front sneered. He held a huge sword in his hand and slashed at Lin Feng. That sword strike seemed to be able to split open space. Its might was so great that it was simply shocking. However, in front of that terrifying sword, Lin Feng couldn't help but smile coldly. That sword strike was powerful. But for Lin Feng, it was nothing at all. Lin Feng brandished his wooden sword and attacked. Clang! The wooden sword in his hand collided with the opponent's huge sword. Suddenly, a sonorous collision sound was heard, as if 2 peerless divine weapons had collided. The wooden sword in Lin Feng's hand was very extraordinary. After blocking the opponent's sword, Lin Feng stepped forward and slashed at the evil spirit warrior's abdomen with the wooden sword in his hand. Lin Feng's speed was simply too fast. The instantaneous burst of speed was not something that the evil spirit warrior could compare to. So when Lin Feng's second sword strike was about to kill the evil spirit warrior, the evil spirit warrior had just reacted. The corner of the evil spirit warrior's mouth hooked up into a sinister arc. He was very confident in his physical body. In his opinion, it was impossible for Lin Feng to hurt him. At this time, many mysterious runes appeared on the surface of the evil spirit warrior's body. Those runes were the reason why the evil spirit warrior was so confident. However, when Lin Feng's wooden sword slashed those runes were instantly torn apart. Then Lin Feng's wooden sword directly cut the evil spirit warrior in half. How is this possible? The evil spirit warrior's face revealed an expression of disbelief. He couldn't understand why such a powerful defensive rune couldn't block the attack of a wooden sword. That wooden sword was indeed very powerful. However, magic treasures that were much more powerful than the wooden sword couldn't break his defensive rune. Why could the wooden sword do it? The evil spirit warrior didn't understand what was going on until his death. The wooden sword in the hand of this human ant is somewhat strange. Everyone be careful, a evil spirit warrior said. The other 2 evil spirit warriors nodded. After that, the 3 evil spirit warriors surrounded Lin Feng, and then they moved quickly. Numerous afterimages appeared. This was an extremely strange divine ability. Lin Feng couldn't tell which one of those afterimages was the true body of the evil spirit warrior. The numerous silhouettes quickly moved towards Lin Feng and surrounded him. The other party wanted to use afterimages to deceive everyone. When they reached Lin Feng's side, they would launch a sure-kill attack on Lin Feng. Such a method was naturally incomparably terrifying. Ordinary people would want to break the opponent's method. It was simply an impossible task. However, Lin Feng's expression was cold. He stood there without any movement, and no one knew what he was thinking. "Despicable ant, have you been scared out of your wits?" The 3 evil spirit warriors couldn't help but think complacently. When they were only 2 meters away from Lin Feng, the 3 evil spirit warriors planned to kill Lin Feng. However, at this time, Lin Feng used the domineering magnetic field. Supreme Domineering, Azure Dragon Domineering, White Tiger Domineering, Epic Domineering, and Supreme Apocalyptic Domineering. The magnetic field formed by the 5 domineering magnetic fields instantly enveloped the 3 evil spirit warriors. The speed of the 3 evil spirit warriors suddenly dropped. The afterimages also disappeared. Before the 3 evil spirit warriors could react, Lin Feng had already launched an attack on them. Lin Feng held the wooden sword and swept it out. Pooh! 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 Accompanied by 3 ripping sounds, the necks of the 3 evil spirit warriors were all ripped apart by Lin Feng's wooden sword. Blood immediately gushed out. The 3 evil spirit warriors used their hands to cover the wounds on their necks. However, they still couldn't stop the blood from gushing out. The corpses of the 3 evil spirit warriors fell into the sea. Chapter 4886. Lin Feng joined the battle and killed an evil spirit warrior with 1 slash. With Lin Feng's participation, the pressure on that female cultivator was greatly reduced. That female cultivator's battle prowess was extremely terrifying. Due to Lin Feng's appearance, she had already killed 6 evil spirit warriors. Now, there were still 7 evil spirit warriors. Moreover, they wanted to deal with her and Lin Feng. In fact, there were still 4 evil spirit warriors besieging her. The other 3 evil spirit warriors besieged Lin Feng. This mysterious woman displayed an extremely heaven-defying battle prowess. The immortal moon dagger in her hand killed 2 evil spirit warriors in succession. Another evil spirit warrior and the leader quickly retreated, pulling apart the distance between them and the female cultivator. The leader of the evil spirit warriors said in a deep voice, "Hurry up and leave!" He turned around and wanted to escape. However, Lin Feng's domineering magnetic field directly enveloped the remaining 5 evil spirit warriors. The speed of these 5 people fell sharply. Under Lin Feng's control, the domineering magnetic field not only did not restrict the mysterious woman's speed, it also increased her speed. It would even increase her speed. Thus, the female cultivator quickly caught up with the fleeing evil spirit warrior. Not long after, Lin Feng killed the 3 evil spirit warriors that besieged him earlier. The female cultivator also killed the leader of the evil spirit warriors and another evil spirit warrior. "Many thanks for young master's help." The mysterious woman slightly bowed to Lin Feng. Lin Feng said, "Fairy is too polite. But haven't we met somewhere before? Because I feel that Fairy and I seem to have met before. If Fairy doesn't mind, can you take off your veil and let me see Fairy's appearance? Perhaps I will be able to remember." If it was someone else who said these words, the female cultivator would definitely not do it. Because in the female cultivator's view, the cultivator who said these words actually wanted to take advantage of her. However, when the woman saw Lin Feng's eyes, she found that those eyes were extremely pure. She realized that Lin Feng's eyes were extremely pure. Obviously, Lin Feng didn't intend to do that. The woman nodded and took off her veil. That was a beautiful face that could be broken by the wind. It was like a masterpiece from the heavens. She was like a peerless fairy from the 9 heavens, so beautiful that it was suffocating. He took a few more glances at her. It was as if all of this was an insult to her. Lin Feng finally understood why this female cultivator was wearing a veil. If such a beautiful woman did not wear a veil, who knew how many flies would stick to her all day long? Naturally, not everyone liked to be the moon surrounded by stars. This woman did not like being surrounded by a group of men. And this face indeed gave Lin Feng some impression. Very soon, Lin Feng immediately thought of the woman's identity. Fairy Qing Shui. This woman was actually Fairy Clear Snow. Back then, Lin Feng had traveled from the martial heaven continent to the 9 prefectures. When he passed by the Nether Ocean Divine Kingdom, he happened to see Fairy Clear Snow ascending to the undying world. At that time, the world had not changed. There were fewer experts in the mortal world. In addition, the hidden experts of the various major forces had yet to appear. Therefore, that was an era where experts were rare. Fairy Clear Snow had only cultivated for 300 years, but she was already about to ascend to the undying world. This showed how terrifying Fairy Clear Snow was. At that time, Fairy Clear Snow was an existence that Lin Feng had to look up to. There was naturally a reason why Fairy Clear Snow was so powerful. It was said that Fairy Clear Snow was an immortal nascent soul that was born from an immortal lotus. Later, she was adopted by Granny Tianzhu and grew up by her side. Granny Tianzhu taught Fairy Clear Snow cultivation. Fairy Clear Snow's cultivation speed was very fast, so she could rise in a short time. Back then, Lin Feng had seen Fairy Qing Shui ascend to the immortal world with his own eyes. Back then, Lin Feng was so envious. He wanted to hug Fairy Qin Shui's thigh and let her take him to the immortal world. Who would have thought that more than 100 years had passed? He and Fairy Clear Snow would meet in the undying world. And after meeting again, Fairy Clear Snow was still very powerful. The only difference was that compared to back then, he was much more powerful now. So it's Fairy Clear Snow! Lin Feng cupped his fists and said. Fairy Clear Snow looked at Lin Feng in surprise and said, You know me? Lin Feng said. Back then, when I was in the Nether Ocean Divine Kingdom, I was fortunate enough to see Fairy Clear Snow ascend to the undying world. So you are from the 9 prefectures. Fairy Clear Snow seemed a little happy. It was extremely difficult to meet a cultivator from the 9 prefectures' great world in the undying world. Moreover, Lin Feng had even helped Celestial Qin Shui. Fairy Clear Snow had a good impression of Lin Feng, so a smile bloomed on her beautiful face. Asked Lin Feng, Why are those evil spirits attacking the celestial being? Fairy Clear Snow said, Because I saw a great hall in the white fog. Then I sneaked into the great hall to explore. Who would have thought that I would be discovered by the evil spirit warriors inside? Then I was attacked by them. Great hall? What kind of great hall? Lin Feng asked curiously. Fairy Clear Snow said, It's a great hall made of bones. What? A great hall made of bones? Lin Feng exclaimed. He had been searching for a great hall made of bones. It was all so that he could bring ancient god Taihao's head out. Lin Feng was a person who kept his promises. He would do his best to fulfill them. However, Lin Feng had never seen the Great Hall appear. Until now, the Great Bone Hall had finally appeared. Fairy, can you take me to the Great Hall? I will go and explore it myself. You can leave on your own. I won't be a burden to you, said Lin Feng. Fairy Clear Snow said, Actually, I also plan to find an opportunity to explore the Great Hall. I've heard some rumors about it before, but I've never seen it. Now that it has appeared, I'm naturally very interested in it. Lin Feng said. In that case, we can explore the Great Hall together. But what's with those evil spirit warriors? Are they creatures that entered the Great Hall from the outside? Or is it a creature from the Bone Palace itself? Fairy Qin Shui said. I'm not very clear about this, but I have a feeling that they are probably living creatures in the Hall of Bones. They seem to have formed a bond with the Hall of Bones, but I can't say for sure what the specific situation is. Lin Feng nodded and flew toward the Great Hall with Fairy Clear Snow. After Lin Feng and Fairy Clear Snow left, the evil spirit warriors that had sunk to the bottom of the sea opened their eyes. Chapter 4887. Look! The Great Bone Hall is right in front of us. Fairy Clear Snow pointed at a hall that appeared in the foggy sea. Lin Feng also saw the hall. It was hidden in the churning white fog, exuding a cold and terrifying aura. The palace was completely made of white bones. It was 300 meters tall and covered an area of more than 10 acres. It was unknown how many people's bones were needed to build such a huge palace. Lin Feng was deeply shocked when he saw the hall. The Great Bone Hall. It represented coldness, death, and despair. Before entering, Lin Feng could already feel the coldness in his body. Lin Feng asked, What's the interior structure of the hall like? Fairy Qin Shui said, The Great Bone Hall is divided into many levels. Since I entered the first level of the Great Bone Hall, I didn't find anything special there. Originally, I wanted to go up, but I was discovered by those evil spirit warriors. Lin Feng said. So, the Great Bone Hall is most likely built by the creatures of that world? Celestial Qin Shui naturally knew what world Lin Feng was talking about. She also knew a little about the world of the mastermind, but not much. Of course, Lin Feng didn't know much about it either. That world was still very mysterious to him. However, even though he didn't know much about that world, he knew how terrifying and evil it was. They were the main driving force behind the destruction of Epic. Therefore, they had to be on guard against the creatures of that world. If possible, it would be best to completely destroy that world. In this way, Epic would be able to exist forever. However, how difficult was it to completely destroy that world? Now, both Lin Feng and Fairy Clear Snow were inclined to believe that the evil spirit warriors didn't enter the Great Bone Hall from outside. They were very likely to be inside the hall. No one knew why the terrifying experts of that world had built the Great Bone Hall, but there must be some unspeakable secret. Perhaps an extremely terrifying creature is hiding inside? The evil spirit warriors we saw before were just small fries? Fairy Clear Snow thought of a certain possibility. When she thought of this possibility, she couldn't help but gasp. If this speculation was correct, then, what kind of existence was that existence in the Great Hall of Bones? Thinking about it, it made one's hair stand on end. However, this didn't stop Lin Feng and Fairy Clear Snow from entering the Great Bone Hall. Both of them were daring people. How could they miss the Great Bone Hall? Fairy Qin Shui was very curious about the Great Bone Palace and wanted to explore its secrets. Lin Feng entered the hall, looking for ancient god Tai Hao's head. Lin Feng couldn't help stroking his chin. He was thinking about how to deceive them. Lin Feng had an idea. He could use the Great Fate technique to change their auras, and then they could use the transformation technique to transform into evil spirit warriors. He entered it. If they were discovered by the other evil spirit warriors, they would still reveal their flaws. Therefore, this method didn't seem to be safe. Suddenly, Lin Feng thought of another feasible method. When he and immeasurable Taoists rescued Goddess Ruoshui, they killed one evil spirit warrior. Later, they saw several more evil spirit warriors. Those evil spirit warriors were obviously not the same group as the ones in the Great Bone Hall. Could he and Fairy Qin Shui transform into the evil spirit warriors of other forces? Then, they could go to the Great Bone Hall and lie that they were here to seek refuge with the Great Bone Hall's master. Thinking about that, Lin Feng told Celestial Qin Shui his idea. Fairy Clear Snow immediately agreed to Lin Feng's idea after hearing it. They really didn't have any other good ideas now. Obviously, they couldn't force their way in. They could only use their wits. They could try Lin Feng's idea. If they were exposed, it wouldn't be too late to escape. Great Tao of Destiny, let our aura become the aura of evil spirit warriors. We will go deep into the tiger's den and fight against evil. After Lin Feng's voice fell, the power of destiny descended and enveloped Lin Feng and Fairy Clear Snow. Then, their auras changed under the effect of the power of destiny. Lin Feng and Fairy Clear Snow's aura became the aura of evil spirit warriors. The great art of destiny was indeed worthy of its name. It was really extraordinary. Then, Lin Feng used the transformation art and turned into an evil spirit warrior. With a shake of her body, Fairy Clear Snow transformed into an evil spirit warrior. However, Fairy Clear Snow turned into a female evil spirit warrior. The male evil spirit warrior was covered with scales and spikes. It was extremely ugly. However, the female evil spirit warrior had a hot body and a charming face. Fairy Clear Snow had seen a female evil spirit warrior before, so she changed into her current appearance. Let's go! Lin Feng took the lead and flew toward the Bone Palace. Fairy Clear Snow followed closely behind. When they approached the Great Hall of Bones, they saw that there were many evil spirit warriors patrolling around the Great Hall of Bones. It seemed that Fairy Clear Snow had attracted the attention of the evil spirit warriors. Therefore, those evil spirit warriors were patrolling the surroundings to prevent other people from sneaking into the Great Bone Hall. When Lin Feng and Fairy Clear Snow arrived in front of the Bone Palace, more than 20 evil spirit warriors flew over. Who are you? Why have you come to our Bone Palace? The commander of the evil spirit warriors asked coldly. Lin Feng said, We were originally evil spirit warriors who were trapped in the temple of the goddess of Ruoshui. We just got out of there not long ago. We heard about the master of the White Bones Palace and came to join him. Oh? You are the evil spirit warriors trapped in the weak water goddess palace? The commander of the evil spirit warriors was very surprised. His eyes swept over Lin Feng and then took a deep look at the evil spirit warrior that Fairy Clear Snow had transformed into. An evil light flashed in the depths of his eyes. It seemed that this guy had improper thoughts about the female evil spirit warrior that Fairy Clear Snow had transformed into. Fairy Clear Snow felt extremely disgusted, but she did not say anything. Chapter 4888. Lin Feng and Fairy Qing Shui were very worried. If they were recognized, they might not have any hope of entering the palace. However, Lin Feng soon relaxed. His aura had been changed by the Great Fate technique, and he had transformed into an evil spirit warrior. These guys should not be able to discover him. Thinking of this, Lin Feng was relieved. He winked at Fairy Qing Shui, who understood and relaxed. Although the two of them had not known each other for a long time, they had a tacit understanding. Soon, more than a dozen evil spirit warriors flew over. The evil spirit warrior commander asked, "Where is that woman?" One of the evil spirit warriors replied, "Reporting to Lord. That woman had an accomplice. Her accomplice is so powerful that they managed to get away." The evil spirit warrior did not mention that they had been killed. It seemed that these guys were also very prideful. However, after thinking about it carefully, it made sense. The creatures of that world thought they were high and mighty, looking down on the rest of the world. Therefore, they were naturally unwilling to tell their companions that they had been killed by the lowly creatures they looked down on. It would make them a laughingstock. The commander of the evil spirit warriors had a gloomy expression, but he didn't say anything. Over the years, whenever the Bone Hall appeared, there would be cultivators coming to the Bone Hall from time to time. Not all cultivators who entered the Bone Hall by mistake would be killed. Many cultivators with extraordinary means had managed to escape in the end, so everyone was used to it. These two are. The group of evil spirit warriors who had just returned looked at the evil spirit warriors that Lin Feng and Fairy Qing Shui had transformed into. Especially after seeing the evil spirit warrior that Fairy Qing Shui had transformed into, the evil spirit warriors could not help but flash in the depths of their eyes. Even these evil spirit warriors could distinguish between beauty and ugliness. They also liked beautiful female evil spirit warriors. The evil spirit warrior commander said, "These two are evil spirit warriors who were trapped in the palace of Goddess Ruoshui. They just escaped not long ago and have come to seek refuge with Lord." "I see." The group of evil spirit warriors nodded. Indeed, they did not find anything unusual. Lin Feng and Fairy Qing Shui could finally be completely relieved. Fairy Qing Shui looked at the evil spirit warrior commander and said sweetly, "Big brother, can you put in a few good words for us in front of the Lord and let us join the Great Bone Palace? In the future, this little sister will definitely repay you generously." Fairy Qing Shui usually had the demeanor of a peerless fairy, as if she was otherworldly. However, when Fairy Qing Shui pretended to be charming and flirtatious, she could also steal people's souls away. Upon hearing Fairy Clear Snow's words, the evil spirit warrior commander's eyes lit up. This guy was already scheming something. Therefore, after hearing Fairy Qing Shui's words, it was exactly what he wanted. He couldn't wait to clap his hands in joy. The commander of the ghost warriors said, "Leave this matter to me. It's just that His Majesty is still in seclusion, and it will probably take a few more months for him to come out. So only after His Majesty comes out can I bring you to see His Majesty." Upon hearing that the Great Bone Palace's lord was in seclusion, Lin Feng and Fairy Qing Shui were overjoyed. If the lord came out of seclusion, things would be more troublesome. However, since he had not come out, this was the best time for Lin Feng and Fairy Qing Shui to make a move. Fairy Qing Shui said sweetly, "Then, this little sister will have to sleep on the streets for the next few months." The evil spirit warrior commander patted his chest and said, "With your big brother here, how can I let you sleep on the streets? I'll arrange for you to have a good rest." "Thank you, big brother." Fairy Qing Shui bowed to the evil spirit warrior commander, and then followed him into the Great Bone Palace. Lin Feng also followed, but he was stopped by someone. "What's the meaning of this?" Lin Feng said speechlessly. "Wait outside." The evil spirit warrior commander who stopped Lin Feng said coldly. Clearly, Fairy Qing Shui had been given special treatment because of her beautiful appearance. Lin Feng, on the other hand, did not receive such treatment. Fairy Qing Shui said sweetly, "Big brother, the one outside is my big brother. Can you make an exception?" "What? So the brother outside is your big brother? I'm sorry for offending you earlier." The commander of the Ghost Warriors immediately revealed a smile. "It's all a misunderstanding. It's fine." Lin Feng waved his hand and followed the evil spirit warrior commander into the Great Bone Palace with Fairy Qing Shui. Lin Feng and Celestial Qing Shui were in a good mood. They had managed to sneak into the Palace of Bones so smoothly. At this time, Fairy Qing Shui said, "Big brother, this little sister has long heard of the Great Bone Palace's reputation. May I know the current situation of the Great Bone Palace?" The evil spirit warrior commander wanted to obtain the female evil spirit warrior Fairy Qing Shui had transformed into. Therefore, in order to gain the favor of the female evil spirit warrior Fairy Qing Shui had transformed into, he was willing to talk about anything. He said, "Currently, there are more than 100 experts suppressed in the Great Bone Palace. They were all top experts in the past. At its peak, there were more than 700 people suppressed. However, those people later had their yuan yang and origin energy sucked dry by the Lord. That's why they all died." After hearing the evil spirit warrior commander's explanation, Lin Feng roughly guessed the reason the Lord had built the Great Bone Palace. That Lord had suppressed many experts, and by devouring their primordial yang and origin, he was able to restore his strength. Those experts were like livestock reared by the Lord, becoming the Lord's nourishment. Gradually they died. Thinking about it, it was really sad. After all, they had been so powerful in the past, yet they had ended up in such a miserable state. It was truly tragic. Besides, the leader of the Palace of Bones was definitely a terrifying cultivator. Lin Feng guessed that the leader of the Palace of Bones was going to recover soon. Lin Feng asked, "How is the Lord's recovery?" The evil spirit warrior commander said, "The Lord should be able to recover in a few more decades. At that time, the Lord will appear in an even more powerful state and sweep through the universe. Who can stand against him?" The evil spirit warrior commander was extremely excited when he said this. It seemed like this fellow really worshipped the Lord. Fairy Qing Shui asked curiously, "How did the Lord get injured in the past?" "He fell into the trap of Lin Qi's son, Lin Xiaobai, and was injured." Chapter 4889. Lin Xiaobai was Lin Feng's ancestor. He was also Lin Qi's only son. In fact, there was a large gap between the combat strength of the children of many top experts. The main reason was that the children of those experts were unable to walk out of the glory of their fathers. If they followed the path of their fathers, it would inevitably be difficult for them to reach the pinnacle of the realm. However, Lin Feng's ancestor, Lin Xiaobai, was different. He was an extremely heaven-defying existence. His father, Lin Qi, was as strong as him, but Lin Xiaobai didn't follow his father's cultivation path. Lin Xiaobai had once said something. "Why should I follow my father's path? Give me time, and I will definitely be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with my father." One had to know that Lin Qi was already one of the top experts in the myriad worlds back then. The 7 undying saints were so shocked that they knelt down. Even the overlord of the wasteland had to salute Lin Qi. There were very few existences in the myriad worlds who could stand shoulder to shoulder with Lin Qi. However, Lin Xiaobai still said those words. What a domineering declaration. These words also showed Lin Xiaobai's confidence in himself. As time passed, Lin Xiaobai did indeed walk a different path. His achievements were also incomparably glorious. Lin Feng knew that his ancestor had killed many cultivators from the lost races of the epoch, but he didn't expect that his ancestor would also have a direct confrontation with the experts from the Mastermind's world. The Bone Palace was built after the Bone Palace Lord was injured. Even when he was injured, he was still able to suppress so many experts. From this, one could see how powerful the Bone Palace Lord was when he wasn't injured. This also showed just how terrifyingly powerful ancestor Lin Xiaobai's battle prowess was. Just thinking about it was enough to send chills down one's spine. As for the Wraith Warrior Commander's claim that his ancestors schemed against the Bone Palace Lord, Lin Feng didn't believe it at all. His ancestor, Lin Xiaobai, was a peerless hero. Why would he scheme against the Lord of the White Bone Hall? Master, how did you escape from Lin Xiaobai's hands? Lin Feng asked. The commander of the evil spirit warriors said, Fortunately, the Lord had some special means, so he escaped the pursuit. However, the Lord's body condition was not good, so he built this Hall of Bones and then began to look for some special cultivators. A special cultivator? What does that mean? Lin Feng asked curiously. The commander of the evil spirit warriors said, It is a cultivator who can help the Lord recover from his injuries. Not all powerful cultivators can help the Lord recover. Only those with a special bloodline or physique can do it. I see. Lin Feng nodded. Before long, the evil spirit warrior commander brought Lin Feng and Fairy Qing Shui to the 3rd floor. Along the way, Lin Feng and Fairy Qing Shui had been observing their surroundings. There were evil spirit warriors stationed on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd floors. There were also evil spirit warriors patrolling outside. He wanted to sneak up to the surface quietly. It really wasn't an easy task. The commander of the evil spirit warriors arranged for Lin Feng and Fairy Qing Shui to stay in a room on the 3rd floor. Then, he said, If you go further up, you will reach the prison. Don't go up there. If you are discovered by the patrolling evil spirit warriors, you won't be able to explain yourself. Fairy Qing Shui said sweetly. Thank you for your reminder, big brother. I will remember it. After hearing Fairy Qing Shui's voice, the commander of the evil spirit warriors felt as if his bones were going to melt. His heart was burning, and he could not help but think to himself, Little girl, I will let you know how powerful I am in the future. The commander of the evil spirit warriors said, You can rest here. I will go patrol outside. Okay, brother, take care. Lin Feng cupped his fists. Big brother, if you have nothing to do, you must come and visit often. Fairy Qing Shui said sweetly. I will. The commander of the evil spirit warriors nodded hurriedly. He was secretly delighted. This guy thought he was going to be lucky in love. After the commander of the evil spirit warriors left, Lin Feng closed the door of the room and set up a soundproof restriction, in case the walls had ears. He looked at Fairy Qing Shui with a smile and said, I really didn't expect you to have such a charming side. Fairy Qing Shui blushed slightly and said, I was just putting on a show to deceive that guy. Then, Fairy Qing Shui continued, There is no time to lose. Let's take action tonight. Lin Feng nodded. Night was indeed the best time to take action, because the security here was the most lax at night. Late at night, Lin Feng and Fairy Qing Shui left their residence and went directly to the 4th floor. There were patrolling teams outside, and there were many evil spirit warriors stationed on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd floors. Therefore, except for some patrolling evil spirit warriors, the security on the 4th floor and above was not very strict. The prison on the 4th floor was arranged in a square. There was a crisscrossing passage leading to 4 directions. At the end of the 4 directions was a staircase leading to the 5th floor. There were many prisons on both sides of the passage, but they had long been empty. Some cultivators might have been suppressed there in the past, but now, those cultivators had long fallen. Therefore, there were not many people in those prisons. Lin Feng and the others continued to look for the suppressed cultivators in the prison. They avoided wave after wave of patrolling evil spirit warriors. When they arrived at the 13th floor, they saw a cultivator suppressed here. This cultivator was a monk. There were actually 10 halos behind his head. At first glance, one could tell that he was an eminent monk. In the past, he must have been incomparably powerful. But now, his aura was weak, and he was so thin that he was only skin and bones. Even so, his body was still surrounded by Buddhist light, which was holy and otherworldly. He was chained by restrictive spell chains, and the prison here was also a restrictive spell cage. Therefore, it was difficult for him to escape. You guard outside. I'll save him, Lin Feng said. Fairy Qin Shui nodded. Lin Feng came to the prison. When he approached the prison, Lin Feng found that his magic power was imprisoned. These cages that could restrain a cultivator's magic power were truly bizarre to the extreme. However, Lin Feng was not bothered by the imprisonment of his magic power. He operated the power of the dragon elephant arm and directly pulled down the prison door. Then, he entered the prison. At this time, the old monk opened his eyes and looked at Lin Feng with a puzzled expression. Chapter 48-90. Lin Feng knew that the old monk had misunderstood him, so he quickly changed back to his original appearance. Then he said, "Senior! I'm here to save you!" The old monk was shocked. He did not expect that the evil spirit warrior in front of him was actually a young human cultivator. In fact, the old monk was also a human cultivator, an expert from the era of titled gods. Back then, he was also a true immortal, but his cultivation had fallen to the heavenly immortal realm. In fact, if he could leave this place and recuperate for a period of time, a cultivator like the old monk might only need 100 or 200 years to break through to the true immortal realm again. Lin Feng planned to save the experts trapped here. First, he did not want these experts to die tragically in this place. Second, Lin Feng had his own plans. If he saved these experts and formed a good relationship with them, he could try to recruit them into the Sin realm. Their current strength had indeed fallen, but even so, their combat strength was still very strong. In addition, these experts would recover in the future. That would be a group of titled gods. Thinking about it, having a group of titled gods under his command. This was such an exciting thing. Moreover, there were many experts under his command. It would be crucial for him to rescue his mother in the future and fight against the doomsday battle. At that moment, the old monk said, "Amitabha, good, good. Thank you for saving us, benefactor." "Senior, you're welcome," Lin Feng said. He came in front of the old monk and broke the 4 restrictive spell chains that shackled the old monk. The old monk could not help but be shocked. It was said that the human body was weak. In fact, the human body was indeed not comparable to the other races. However, Lin Feng's body seemed to be too abnormal, right? He could break a chain that restricted magic power in an instant. How strong did his body have to be to do that? Just the thought of it was enough to make people feel shocked. I hear footsteps. The patrolling evil spirit warriors are probably coming. What do we do now? At that moment, Fairy Clear Snow's voice sounded. Lin Feng said, "We have to get rid of those guys. But there are 6 of them. I'm afraid we can't do it." Fairy Qin Shui said in a deep voice. "I can do it. Let's hide and ambush them." As Lin Feng spoke, he summoned the 9 orifices stone man and the 2 evil god stone statues. Fairy Qin Shui and the old monk were surprised to see the 9 orifices stone man avatar and the 2 evil god stone statues. "If we include the 3 of them, we should have a way to get rid of those guys," Fairy Qin Shui said. "Let's go to the intersection and hide there," Lin Feng said. Together with Fairy Qin Shui, the old monk, the 9 orifice stone golem clone, and the 2 evil god statues, Qin Mu sped toward the intersection. After arriving here, he could already hear the other party's footsteps and voices. Lin Feng used the Tao of Space, and they immediately hid in the void. Lin Feng's Tao of Space was the inheritance of the great god of space, so it was very powerful. Only those who were extremely strong could sense Lin Feng and the others. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to sense them at all. The combat strength of the evil spirit warriors was rather strange. They couldn't be measured by the realm of this world. However, Lin Feng had a feeling that the evil spirit warriors' combat strength was close to the true immortal realm. If they were the leader of the evil spirit warriors, they should have the combat strength of a true immortal realm expert. Therefore, there should be 1 evil spirit warrior at the true immortal realm and 5 evil spirit warriors close to the true immortal realm. Lin Feng would deal with the true immortal realm evil spirit warrior. Because Lin Feng wielded the wooden sword, and the wooden sword was the evil spirit warrior's greatest nemesis. Perhaps without the support of the 9 orifices stone man, Lin Feng's combat strength couldn't be compared to Fairy Qing Shui's. However, Lin Feng wielded the stone sword. Just this point alone, Lin Feng's threat to the evil spirit warriors was far greater than Fairy Qing Shui's threat to the evil spirit warriors. When the evil spirit warriors were patrolling, Lin Feng and the others suddenly attacked. Lin Feng directly sealed the area, so no sound could be transmitted out. Then, Lin Feng wielded the wooden sword and attacked an evil spirit warrior. Fairy Qing Shui, the old monk, the 9 orifices stone man, and the 2 evil spirit stone statues also locked on to their opponents, and quickly launched attacks. Only then did the evil spirit warriors notice Lin Feng and the others. They shouted, wanting to attract the other evil spirit warriors over. However, Lin Feng did not give them the chance. Lin Feng had set up a barrier to isolate their voices. Lin Feng's attack speed was simply too fast. Before the evil spirit warrior that Lin Feng had locked on to could even react, Lin Feng had already stabbed it to death. At the same time, the old monk also unleashed his might. He displayed a lost technique called karma retribution. This lost technique produced a powerful karma force. When the karma force poured into the evil spirit warrior's body, a terrifying thing happened. The evil spirit warrior's body instantly aged, while the life aura of the old monk became much stronger. This karma retribution seemed to have transferred the life force of the evil spirit warrior to the old monk. Therefore, the old monk became vigorous while the evil spirit warrior rapidly aged. Fairy Qing Shui, the 9 orifices stone man, and the 2 evil spirit stone statues also displayed their might. They locked on to their opponents at the fastest speed and killed them. After killing 6 evil spirit warriors, Lin Feng and the others could not help but breathe a sigh of relief. However, Lin Feng still remembered that he and Fairy Qing Shui had killed more than a dozen evil spirit warriors. But in the end, those evil spirit warriors were resurrected. The situation could be described as incomparably strange. Lin Feng was worried that the evil spirit warriors in front of him would also be resurrected. Therefore, Lin Feng summoned the heavenly fire. The heavenly fire enveloped the corpses of the evil spirit warriors, and then the heavenly fire burned fiercely. It did not take long for those evil spirit warriors to be burned to ashes. In this way, there was no need to worry about those evil spirit warriors resurrecting. Senior is the only one imprisoned on this floor. Let's go up and save the others. At that time, we will do the same thing and kill the evil spirit warriors there, Lin Feng said. Fairy Qing Shui and the old monk nodded. Then, Lin Feng and the others quickly sneaked towards the 14th floor. Their movements were very subtle, for fear of attracting the attention of the other evil spirit warriors. It did not take long for Lin Feng and the others to reach the 14th floor. Chapter 4891. Lin Feng once again used the Tao of space, allowing everyone to hide. Not long after, the 6 evil spirit warriors arrived at Lin Feng's side. Shua! Lin Feng and the others suddenly appeared. Just like before, Lin Feng once again used restrictions to seal the surroundings. Then, each of them locked onto an evil spirit warrior. Lin Feng stabbed the leader of the evil spirit warriors to death with a single sword strike. The rest of them also unleashed their might and killed the evil spirit warriors they had locked onto. Following that, Lin Feng took out his heavenly flame and burned the corpses of the 6 evil spirit warriors to ashes. Amitabha, good, good! The old monk clasped his hands together, looking as if he was bemoaning the state of the universe and pitying the fate of mankind. Lin Feng said, Buddha said that if I don't enter hell, who will? The people we killed are even more evil and terrifying than the demons of hell. It is a matter of boundless merit, the old monk said. Young benefactor is young, but you have an extremely deep understanding of Buddhism. If you enter my Buddhist sect, you will definitely become a Buddha-level existence in the future. Lin Feng could not help but roll his eyes. This old monk was too unreasonable. He had only sighed and he actually wanted to send this young master into the Buddhist sect. Lin Feng naturally had no interest in a place like the Buddhist sect. He had heard that Buddhist cultivators cultivated bitterly in front of the green lamp. Moreover, they would often sit in meditation for hundreds of years, thousands of years, or even tens of thousands of years. This was not something that ordinary people could endure. Lin Feng said, "I still prefer the colorful world outside." The old monk smiled. He also knew that it was impossible to persuade someone like Lin Feng to enter the Buddhist sect, so he did not continue to persuade Lin Feng. The evil spirit warriors on the 14th floor had already been killed. As a result, Lin Feng and the others could go and save them without worry. They quickly traversed through the 14th floor of the prison. Their speed was extremely fast, and soon, they found a trapped cultivator. That cultivator was already as thin as a bag of bones. When he saw Lin Feng and the others, he was extremely shocked. Lin Feng made a shushing gesture and said, "We are here to save Senior." "Thank you," the cultivator said with an agitated look on his face. Being trapped in this place was truly a fate worse than death. However, his will to live had kept him alive until now. He hoped that one day, a miracle would happen. Right now, a miracle had actually happened. Someone had come to save the cultivators trapped in the Bone Palace. They were finally going to escape. Crack! Lin Feng directly pulled down the door of the prison. Then, he entered the prison and broke the chains that bound the cultivator. The cultivator managed to escape. Next, one after another, cultivators were rescued by Lin Feng and the others. In total, Lin Feng and the others had rescued more than 120 people. Lin Feng had never been able to find ancient god Taihao's head. This left Lin Feng rather depressed. He didn't know where ancient god Taihao's head had been suppressed. Lin Feng asked the others, but they also didn't know where ancient god Taihao's head was. "We can't go to the upper level. That's where the Lord is cultivating in seclusion," a cultivator said. The leader of the Palace of Bones was a terrifying cultivator. Lin Feng didn't dare offend the leader of the Palace of Bones, but he hadn't found ancient god Taihao's head yet, so he didn't want to leave. Perhaps it was on the top level? However, that wasn't a place he could explore. Moreover, they really couldn't stay here for long. Otherwise, if they alerted the Lord of the Bone Palace, they wouldn't be able to leave. "It seems that I can only come back here to find ancient god Taihao's head after I'm strong enough," Lin Feng thought to himself. Lin Feng then said, "Everyone, let's kill our way out." "All right, let's kill our way out." The cultivators nodded. They were now free. As long as they could kill their way out, they would regain their freedom. So, the cultivators were all very excited. "Let's go." Lin Feng waved his hand and was about to head down to the next level. However, at that moment, a sinister and terrifying aura filled the hall on the 37th level. Upon sensing this sinister and terrifying aura, the expressions of Lin Feng and the others couldn't help but change slightly. In the next moment, a woman actually appeared in the main hall. She was a woman in snow-white clothes. She had an extremely beautiful face, but that beautiful face was as cold as an iceberg. "Damn, this iceberg beauty is so beautiful!" Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. At that moment, one expert after another quickly retreated and looked at the woman in horror. When he saw this, Lin Feng immediately felt that something was amiss. This group of people had such terrified expressions. Could it be this beautiful woman in front of him was the Lord of the Bone Palace? Suddenly, the beautiful woman looked at Lin Feng with an extremely cold gaze. "The bloodline of a sovereign! So, it's someone from the sovereign race. Compared to your ancestor, you're way too weak. Such a weak cultivation state. How dare you come to the Great Hall of Bones? Are you here to die? I've yet to take revenge for being injured by Lin Xiaobai back then. Since you've walked right into my trap, I'll skin you alive and pull out your tendons. Once I've recovered, I'll go and kill Lin Xiaobai." Lin Feng's face let out an extremely bitter expression. The Lord of the Bone Palace was way too terrifying. Furthermore, she clearly had an irreconcilable relationship with the sovereign race. Now that he was being targeted by this terrifying existence, Lin Feng felt an unprecedented amount of pressure. Lin Feng even had the heart to cry right now. How could it be that easy to escape from the clutches of this terrifying existence? Lin Feng said, I've heard about you from my ancestor Lin Xiaobai. Do you know why I dared to come here? The woman was slightly taken aback. Then she shook her head and asked, Why? Lin Feng said, Because before I left, my ancestor gave me a jade talisman. All I have to do is crush it, and my ancestor will rush over immediately. Lin Feng's hand flashed, and a jade talisman appeared in his hand. Of course, Lin Feng was trying to trick her. After all, he had never seen his ancestor Lin Xiaobai before. Furthermore, according to the rumors, his ancestor Lin Xiaobai had already fallen. Lin Feng did not know if the rumors were true, but he had no other choice. He could only hope to intimidate this terrifying woman. Even though she looked exactly like a human cultivator, she was an expert from the mastermind's world. She was definitely someone who would kill without batting an eyelid. Lin Feng hoped that he could use the reputation of his ancestor Lin Xiaobai to intimidate her so that he could find a chance to escape. Do you think I'll believe your nonsense? The woman said coldly. Her eyes flashed with dense killing intent. The magic power in her body began to circulate. After sensing the aura emitted from her body, everyone present felt an almost suffocating pressure. This woman was too strong. She was so strong that they could not fight against her. Chapter 4892. There were two mistakes in the previous chapter. This woman could tell that Lin Feng had the sovereign bloodline and the immortal bloodline. However, she only wrote that he had the sovereign bloodline. Furthermore, she had a grudge against Lin Feng, not the sovereign bloodline. It's over. It's really over this time. This woman is going to make a move. Lin Feng wailed in his heart. If this woman made a move, he could only join forces with everyone else to attack her. However, the titled gods that he had saved were not in good condition. There were only 2 true Immortal Realm cultivators left, and they were severely injured. The rest of them had either fallen to the quasi-true Immortal Realm, or the Heavenly Immortal Realm. There were even a few who had fallen to the Earth Immortal Realm. Therefore, even though Lin Feng and the rest had the advantage in numbers, it was no different from sending themselves to their deaths if they wanted to deal with the owner of the White Bone Palace. Lin Feng knew that he could not afford to show any weakness at this time. If his aura was weak, if this woman were to see through his disguise, he would be doomed eternally. Therefore, Lin Feng sneered and said, You want to make a move? Let's give it a try. Originally, I did not want to waste this jade talisman to summon my ancestor. However, since you want to make a move, I will summon my ancestor here. After saying that, Lin Feng acted as if he was going to crush the jade talisman. Stop! The woman said in a low voice. She did not release the magic power in her body. Clearly, she was testing Lin Feng just now. Lin Feng heaved a sigh of relief. His back was covered in sweat. He was so nervous that he was about to die. However, he did not show it on his face. He still looked very calm. Are you afraid now? Lin Feng grinned and said, Actually, if you don't make a move, I don't want to disturb my ancestor either. Because my ancestor is comprehending the 10th transformation. As a junior, I naturally don't want to disturb his cultivation at this critical juncture. The woman did not say anything. She just kept looking at Lin Feng. Lin Feng felt his hair stand on end. He didn't know what this woman was thinking. His palms were also sweating. Fortunately, Lin Feng's mental fortitude was still considered passable. He intended to change the topic. The topic couldn't stay on ancestor Lin Xiaobai. Otherwise, it would be easy to spill the beans. If he spilled the beans, wouldn't he be dead? Lin Feng asked. Where is ancient god Taihao's head? The woman frowned and asked. Why are you asking this? Leave it to me, Lin Feng said. Why? The woman looked coldly at Lin Feng. If you don't hand it over to me, I'll have my ancestor kill you, Lin Feng threatened. Lin Feng's words infuriated the woman. After all these years, there was actually someone who dared to threaten her. This made her quite angry. If it wasn't for her fear of Lin Feng, she would have killed Lin Feng with a slap. Ancient God Tai Hao deserves to die, the woman said coldly. Lin Feng sneered. I don't care about that. Just give me his head. The woman did not give Ancient God Tai Hao's head to Lin Feng. Instead, she sneered and said, Back then, this person actually got together with my maidservant. What a reckless fool! As for that lowly maidservant, she actually betrayed me for such a lowly man. Thus, I killed both her and that lowly man. The woman's voice was filled with dense killing intent. It had to be said that she was truly perverted. She believed herself to be noble, so she didn't care about the other races at all. Ancient God Tai Hao, on the other hand, was a titled god of the era of titled gods. He was indeed not as strong as the experts of the Mastermind's world, but even in the era of titled gods, Ancient God Tai Hao was definitely no ordinary person. Let me guess at what happened back then, Lin Feng said. I believe that your maidservant must have hidden her identity before she fell in love with Ancient God Tai Hao. If she hadn't, Ancient God Tai Hao probably wouldn't have fallen in love with her. Later on, for some reason, the two of them fell in love. However, your maidservant knew that her identity was very special and knew that you wouldn't agree. If you learned of this matter, you wouldn't have let Ancient God Tai Hao off. Thus, your maidservant left Ancient God Tai Hao. From what I know, Ancient God Tai Hao was hurt by love, so he went to a world where no one knew him and concealed his identity. And since you knew about the matter between Ancient God Tai Hao and your maidservant, you might have made a request to have your maidservant kill Ancient God Tai Hao, right? But your maidservant didn't agree. She was willing to die rather than hurt her lover. Although the people of your world are hateful, I do admire your maidservant for being in love with Ancient God Tai Hao. You killed her when you saw how protective she was of a lowly creature in your eyes. Later on, you found Ancient God Tai Hao and cut off his head. Am I right? As expected of the Sovereign Clan. The descendants of the Undying Clan are truly as intelligent as monsters. Although there are some discrepancies, you've guessed most of it, the woman said, raising her eyebrows. Since you've already killed Ancient God Tai Hao, his head is of no use to you. Give it to me, Lin Feng said. The woman sneered. His head has long since been reduced to ashes, but his soul remains. Do you want his soul? As soon as she finished speaking, a black crystal appeared in her hand. Shrill screams could be heard coming from it. What's that? Lin Feng asked grimly. This black crystal is called the Crystal of Hell. Inside it is the fire of hell. I threw the souls of some people I hated into it, making them suffer for eternity, making them beg for death. The woman said. You're truly vicious, Lin Feng said with a gloomy expression. Isn't there a saying in your world that a woman's heart is the most vicious? The woman said with a smile. That's why you should never anger a woman. Lin Feng was rendered speechless by the woman's words. Give me Ancient God Tai Hao's soul, and I'll leave immediately, Lin Feng said. The woman sneered. Give you Ancient God Tai Hao's soul? Are you daydreaming? I suddenly thought of something. What is it? Lin Feng asked. If this palace of bones self-destructs, do you think it'll kill your ancestor, Lin Xiaobai? Even if it doesn't kill him, it'll probably heavily injure him, right? When the time comes, I'll attack him. Who knows, I might even be able to kill him, the woman said. When Lin Feng heard that, his expression suddenly changed. The woman walked toward Lin Feng. Lin Feng kept backing away. Don't come over. If you do, I'll crush the jade talisman and summon my ancestor, Lin Feng shouted, but the woman continued walking toward him with a sneer. Crush it then. I'm looking forward to seeing Lin Feng appear before me. If you won't crush the jade talisman, I'll crush it for you. Chapter 4893. The woman wanted to force Lin Feng to crush the jade talisman, but Lin Feng's jade talisman was fake. What could she do even if he crushed it? It was still useless. If he didn't shatter it, and this woman came, he would be dead for sure. My ancestor is coming! Lin Feng shouted and crushed the jade talisman. The woman was naturally worried that Lin Feng's ancestor would suddenly appear and kill her by surprise. Therefore, she hurriedly retreated to avoid Lin Feng's ancestor. But in reality, Lin Feng didn't have an ancestor. "Let's go, everyone!" shouted Lin Feng loudly. He took the lead and ran towards the stairs. The others came back to their senses and understood that Lin Feng was trying to trick the master of the Palace of Bones. No one dared to hesitate and flew toward the exit. The woman's face alternated between green and red. For a powerful existence like her to be fooled by a junior was a great humiliation to her. How could she accept such humiliation? Therefore, the woman's killing intent was monstrous. She wanted nothing more than to cut Lin Feng into 1,000 pieces. The woman waved her right hand. In an instant, runes began to interweave at the exit. Those runes sealed the exit. As a result, everyone was trapped in the hall. Lin Feng's face turned extremely unsightly. Now that they were trapped in the palace, they were in trouble. "Kid, I'm going to grind your bones to dust." The woman looked coldly at Lin Feng and charged toward Lin Feng. However, at that moment, the woman seemed to have sensed something. She stopped and looked to the left. An old man had appeared there at some point in time. The old man was thin and shriveled. It was as if his body was made of only a layer of skin apart from bones. His eyes were sunken into his eye sockets. His eyes were old and turbid. A mummified old man. It was actually a mummified old man. He actually appeared here. "Damn, did he really summon the ancestor?" a cultivator exclaimed. "Is this the expert from the Lin clan? I've heard of him in the past. Countless years have passed, and he's the same as us. He's old," another cultivator added. They were from the same generation as Lin Feng's ancestor, Lin Xiaobai. In fact, if it wasn't for the slow flow of time in the hall, these people would have died long ago. However, they knew that the legendary powerhouse Lin Xiaobai had no problem surviving until now. Lin Feng was crying in his heart. This was not his ancestor, Lin Xiaobai. However, this is also a senior who is fated with me. Even though he didn't know where the senior came from, he didn't know where he came from. But what did that matter? It was fine as long as this senior was of help to him. You. When the woman saw the mummified old man, she pointed her finger at him. Her face was filled with disbelief. It was obvious that she had recognized the mummified old man. Destroy! She wanted to destroy the Great Bone Palace, and use the explosion of the Great Bone Palace to deal with the mummified old man. However, the hall didn't move at all. "You've sealed the surrounding laws." The woman's voice turned extremely cold. "Hand over the item." The mummified old man spoke. His voice was extremely hoarse. Lin Feng knew that the mummified old man had been running around for the past few years in search of some special items. Those special items were extremely important to the mummified old man. However, Lin Feng didn't know what the mummified old man was looking for. "I don't have what you want," the woman said. "You're lying. You deserve death," the mummified old man said coldly. At this moment, the entire hall became extremely dark. Everyone could sense how powerful the mummified old man's killing intent was. Fortunately, the killing intent wasn't targeted at them. If it was, they would be in trouble. "You're too arrogant. Do you think you're still the same as before? You're no longer the same as before. I'm not afraid of you," the woman said coldly. She knew that today's battle was unavoidable. So, she decided to fight to the death. After she finished speaking, she began to chant quickly. As her voice was very soft, Lin Feng couldn't hear what she was chanting. After she finished chanting, an extremely powerful energy surged out of the hall and entered the woman's body. As the energy entered her body, the woman's combat strength increased greatly. This should also be one of her trump cards. Now that she had used it, it was to fight to the death with the mummified old man. Kill! A sword appeared in her hand. She held the sword and became one with it. Then, she attacked the mummified old man. At that moment, the sky changed color and the sun and moon lost their light. The woman's combat strength was too terrifying. Although she hadn't recovered to her peak, she was still unimaginably powerful. It was shocking and moving. The woman was worthy of being a powerhouse in the world of the mastermind. She was really a powerful existence. However, facing the woman's attack, the mummified old man didn't dodge. After seeing this scene, the rest of the people's faces changed drastically. They knew how terrifying the woman was. But facing the woman's attack, the mummified old man didn't dodge. Could it be that he wanted to use his physical body to resist the opponent's attack? This was simply a trick to catch him dead. Soon, they were sure that the mummified old man was really using his physical body to resist the opponent's attack. When the woman's terrifying sword came, the mummified old man stretched out his right hand and slapped the sword. Clang! The treasured sword stabbed directly into the shriveled old man's palm. At this moment, an inconceivable scene occurred. When the mummified old man's palm collided with the woman's sword broke into pieces. That was a powerful sword, but it was broken in an instant. It was unbelievable. The woman's expression changed drastically. She wanted to retreat, but it was too late. The mummified old man instantly came in front of her and grabbed her forehead. Chapter 48-94. After witnessing this scene, everyone could not help but reveal a deeply shocked expression. They simply could not believe their eyes. That woman was an expert from the mastermind's world. What kind of terrifying existence was she? In front of the mummified old man, she was actually so weak. It was truly somewhat inconceivable. Just how strong was this mummified old man? The mummified old man took the woman's storage ring and then directly smashed her corpse with a palm strike. The woman's hope of resurrection was completely destroyed. The mummified old man could not help but frown after sensing the items in the storage ring. He seemed to be unable to find what he needed in the storage ring. Take it! The mummified old man looked at Lin Feng and then threw the storage ring to Lin Feng. Then, his figure instantly disappeared without a trace. We're out of danger! We're out of danger! The rest of the people looked as if they had just survived a disaster. The feeling of being able to survive was simply too good. Congratulations to everyone for being reborn! Lin Feng could not help but let out a long sigh and then clasped his fists and said, Thank you, young friend, for saving us. If not for you, young friend, we would definitely have died. Everyone thanked Lin Feng one after another. Lin Feng said with a smile. Everyone, please don't be so polite. At this moment, someone asked, Young friend, was that old man just now Senior Lin Xiaobai? Actually, everyone wanted to hear what Lin Feng had to say. Although the mummified old man had appeared after Lin Feng crushed the jade talisman, the mummified old man had appeared. When the mummified old man first appeared, many people really thought that the mummified old man was Lin Feng's ancestor. However, when they heard the conversation between the mummified old man and the Bone Palace master, and then thought of Lin Feng's reaction after crushing the jade talisman, the mummified old man should not have been summoned by Lin Feng. Therefore, the mummified old man should not be Lin Feng's ancestor. However, although he was not Lin Feng's ancestor, the way he looked at Lin Feng was clearly different. Moreover, he even handed the palace master's storage ring to Lin Feng. Therefore, everyone guessed that the mummified old man and Lin Feng knew each other, and their relationship was quite close. Otherwise, the mummified old man wouldn't have given the storage ring of the palace lord to Lin Feng. Could he be the Tao protector of this young cultivator? Many people could not help but think of a certain possibility. Lin Feng said, I won't hide it from everyone. That senior just now wasn't my ancestor, but he was one of my seniors. After hearing Lin Feng's words, everyone couldn't help but mutter in their hearts. If this was not Lin Feng's ancestor, then it meant that in addition to his own ancestor, Lin Feng also had a great backer from earlier. At this time, someone asked, I wonder if this young friend can reveal the identity of that senior to us? Although these people were all titled gods from the era of titled gods and were very powerful in the past, they were still very respectful when talking about the mummified old man. Not to mention now, even when they were at their peak, they could only bow their heads in front of the old man who looked like a dried corpse. They had to be respectful. Lin Feng said, "Everyone! Without the permission of this senior of mine, I can't tell everyone his identity. I hope everyone can understand this." Lin Feng was purely bluffing. His goal was to tell everyone that he had many great backers, paving the way for him to recruit these experts later. "We can understand." The group of experts couldn't help but nod. They could indeed understand Lin Feng's difficulties. After all, some experts were unwilling to reveal themselves to the world. Therefore, these experts tended to keep a low profile. If the identities of these experts were revealed to others without permission, it might anger these experts. Lin Feng said, "Thank you for your understanding. Now that everyone is free, what do you plan to do next? We've been trapped for a very long time, so we don't know what's going on outside. Young friend, can you tell us more about the situation outside?" one of the cultivators asked. Lin Feng said, "It's already the end of the era. The doomsday battle isn't far from here." "What? It's already the end of the era?" The group's expressions changed drastically. They naturally knew what the doomsday battle meant. When the doomsday battle broke out, it meant that countless living beings in countless worlds would die. After all, only a small number of cultivators could survive the doomsday battle. Moreover, they had been in prison for a very long time. Their current combat power had long fallen. Therefore, their chances of surviving the doomsday battle were even slimmer. Everyone was very clear about this. So now, their feelings were complicated. Originally, they thought that they would have enough time to slowly recover after being reborn. Then, they would rise again and become stronger again. However, the reality was so cruel that it gave them a suffocating pressure. Lin Feng continued, "The doomsday battle is extremely important to us. Therefore, we must unite. Only by uniting will we be able to survive the doomsday battle." "That's right. We have to unite. As long as we're united enough, we'll definitely be able to survive the doomsday battle," another cultivator said in agreement. Lin Feng said, "This junior is untalented, but I'm now the Lord of Sin Realm. This junior's ancestors are also powerful people, and now, this junior wants to strengthen the Sin domain. If all of you join the Sin domain, at that time, we will definitely be able to strengthen the Sin domain, and all of you seniors will have a place to stay." Lin Feng's words were tactful, but everyone understood what Lin Feng meant. Lin Feng wanted to recruit everyone. Now, this group of experts had some understanding of Lin Feng's background and strength. Lin Feng had an extraordinary background, and with his extraordinary talent, he would definitely be able to achieve great things in the future. With the arrival of the doomsday battle, everyone needed to stay together. Otherwise, when the doomsday battle arrived, they would all die miserably. My life was saved by you, little friend. If you have any instructions in the future, just say the word and I won't even frown. A tall and burly cultivator said. This person was called Dragon Tiger Immortal. He had demon blood flowing in his veins and was an extremely forthright person in the past. Now, he was the first to choose to join Lin Feng. After the first person expressed his willingness, the rest also expressed their willingness to join Sin Realm. 2 true immortal experts also joined Sin Realm. One of them was a human cultivator called Zhan Yunting, while the other was a divine inscription race cultivator called Lu Huai. Chapter 4895. When Lin Feng led a large group of people out of the Great Bone Hall, the evil spirit warriors outside had already run away without a trace. The evil spirit warriors probably knew what had happened inside. Even the mummified old man had died tragically, let alone them. Let's work together to destroy the Great Bone Hall, Lin Feng said. The rest naturally had no objection. Then, a large group of people joined forces and tried to destroy the Great Bone Hall. This hall represented slaughter and evil. With the fall of the Great Bone Hall Master, it shouldn't be allowed to remain in this world. Asterisk hong hong hong. Asterisk all kinds of attacks bombarded the Great Bone Hall. However, When these attacks bombarded the Great Bone Hall, it wasn't destroyed. Countless runes appeared outside the Great Bone Hall and resisted the attacks. It was incomparably strange. Since the Great Bone Hall couldn't be activated, Lin Feng wanted to see if he could collect the Great Bone Hall. If he could, it would be a good choice. As the saying goes, there was no distinction between good and evil in treasures. However, when Lin Feng tried to collect the Great Bone Hall, he still failed. He couldn't collect the Great Bone Hall. This made Lin Feng very depressed. He couldn't destroy it and couldn't collect it. In this case, he could only leave the Great Bone Hall here. There was no other way. Although he was depressed, he could only accept it. Lin Feng summoned the ancient starship Xianyuan. The group boarded the ancient starship Xianyuan and quickly sailed in the direction of the White Bone Domain. On the way, Lin Feng checked the woman's storage ring. There were all kinds of heavenly treasures and other things piled up like a mountain inside. In addition, Lin Feng found the crystal that imprisoned the soul of ancient god Taihao. He released the soul of ancient god Taihao and let it temporarily attach itself to a piece of spirit-nourishing wood. Perhaps when it recovered in the future, it could reincarnate and cultivate again. After returning to the White Bone region, Lin Feng did not continue to stay in the White Bone region. He planned to return to the Sin domain and make arrangements for these powerhouses. This was the most important thing at the moment. Lin Feng had experienced a lot of things during this period of time. Therefore, Lin Feng needed to go into seclusion for some time to properly digest the crazy advancement of his cultivation over the past few years and stabilize his foundation of the Great Tao. These were all extremely important things that couldn't be delayed any longer. Not long after the Xianyuan left the White Bone region, Di Wudao arrived. He came for Lin Feng, but in the end, he brushed past Lin Feng. Di Wudao was an extremely terrifying existence. It was said that when he was a loose immortal back then, he could already fight against true immortals. As expected of the son of the Heaven Empyrean, as expected of someone with the bloodline of the heavenly human race. Now that Di Wudao had broken through to the true immortal realm, no one knew how strong he was. Lin Feng and Di Wudao would have a battle to the death sooner or later, but now was not the time. After returning to the Sin domain, Lin Feng went to pay a visit to ancestral master Wang Mingchuan. Wang Mingchuan had been overseeing the Sin domain all these years, so everything in the Sin domain had developed in an orderly manner. It was said that a few powerhouses from the heavenly court had entered the Sin capital to investigate the situation, but they had all been killed by Wang Mingchuan. The Heaven Empyrean now knew of Wang Mingchuan's existence, and he seemed to know him. He was quite wary of Wang Mingchuan. Seeing that Lin Feng had returned, Wang Mingchuan was overjoyed. Wang Mingchuan was extremely happy. Lin Feng and Wang Mingchuan chatted for a long time. Lin Feng then introduced the many powerhouses he had brought with him to Wang Mingchuan. Lin Feng had carved out a huge estate behind the Sin capital. It was called the House of Prodigies. The House of Prodigies specialized in gathering all the extraordinary people in the world. These powerhouses moved into the House of Prodigies one after another. Lin Feng provided them with all kinds of immortal pills, elixirs, cultivation resources, and so on to help them recover quickly. The faster they recovered, the more benefits Lin Feng would have. Lin Feng naturally hoped that they could recover quickly. Lin Feng then went into seclusion. Lin Feng went into seclusion in the space of time. Year after year passed. Flowers bloomed and withered. 10 spring and autumn passed. Lin Feng stayed in the space of time for a full 10 years. In these 10 years, Lin Feng constantly comprehended various great Taos. He questioned his own Tao heart. In these 10 years, although Lin Feng's cultivation did not increase, his understanding of various great Taos deepened. This was a huge wealth that could not be seen with the naked eye. The deeper one's understanding of great Taos, the more extraordinary one's future achievements would be. In these 10 years, Bibi and the others also made great progress. This made Lin Feng extremely happy. 1 year in the outside world was 10 years in the space of time. Therefore, although Lin Feng had cultivated in the space of time for 10 years, only 1 year had passed in the outside world. After Lin Feng came out of seclusion, he learned that Taoist Wu Liang, Du Zhu, and the others had returned. It was said that they had obtained opportunities and were now in seclusion. Celestial Qin Shui had left a few months before. Long Ao Tian had come to Zui City, but after one day, he had left. Shui Nu had also come to Zui City to see Lin Feng, but Lin Feng was meditating in seclusion, so Shui Nu had left. She went back to the village. She liked life in the village, and she had to protect the villagers. She couldn't stay in Zui City for too long. As for the experts living in the House of Wonders, they had recovered quite well. Many of them had recovered to the quasi-true immortal realm, and there was even one who had recovered to the true immortal realm. With this, the House of Wonders now had 3 true immortals. This was naturally something worth celebrating for Sin City. Lin Feng took out the chart of God King and transmitted his voice to Murong Yuxuan. Fairy, how are you feeling after being trapped in there for so long? I'm fine. You don't have to worry about me, Murong Yuxuan replied coldly. Lin Feng sneered. Why do I feel like your voice is not as strong as before? Let me try to see if I can break the seal on the chart of God King. Powerful magic power surged toward the seal on the chart of God King. Bang! 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 The powerful magic power began to attack the seal on the chart of God King. He wanted to destroy the seal on the chart of God King. The chart of God King had been placed in Lin Feng's gourd of fortunes all this time, so it could not absorb the yuan qi of the world to maintain its operation. Therefore, the defensive power of the chart of God King was far weaker than before. However, Lin Feng failed to destroy the seal on the chart of God King. It seemed that he still needed some time. As long as he could destroy the seal on the chart of God King, he would be able to capture Murong Yuxuan. Once he captured Murong Yuxuan, Lin Feng would definitely make her pay a heavy price. Lin Feng threw the chart of God King back into the gourd of fortunes. Chapter 4896. Lin Feng heard the cries of the immortal crane and walked out of the room. After the immortal crane saw Lin Feng, it quickly flew towards Lin Feng. Then, it placed the letter in Lin Feng's hand. It's a letter from Yao Guang. When Lin Feng saw the immortal crane, he couldn't help but smile. This was a method that Feng Yaoguang had mastered. It was very magical. No matter where he went, he would be able to receive Yaoguang's letter. However, Lin Feng hadn't received a letter from Feng Yaoguang for a long time. After coming to the Undying Realm, Lin Feng had tried to inquire about Feng Yaoguang's news, but there were no clues. This made Lin Feng quite depressed, and Lin Feng had always been very worried about Feng Yaoguang's safety. Now that he finally received a letter from Feng Yaoguang, he wondered how she was doing now. Lin Feng quickly opened the letter. Husband, this might be the last letter that Yaoguang wrote to you. I'm very happy to have met you. However, I might not be able to accompany my husband in the future. I wish my husband well. It was only a short sentence, followed by Feng Yaoguang's signature, and nothing else. After reading the contents of the letter, Lin Feng's face became somewhat gloomy. Could it be that something had happened to Yaoguang? She had a premonition that she wouldn't live for long, so she wrote such a farewell letter? Perhaps there was such a possibility, but where was Yaoguang now? Lin Feng was very anxious, but Lin Feng didn't know where Yaoguang was. He looked at the immortal crane and asked, Do you know where Yaoguang is? Can you tell me? However, what made Lin Feng smile bitterly was that the immortal crane's body spontaneously combusted. In fact, the immortal crane was just a paper crane. Seeing the immortal crane spontaneously combusting, the last message was gone. Right now, Lin Feng felt like crying but had no tears. Little Lin Feng, I plan to go somewhere else to continue my archaeology career. Taoist Wu Liang arrived at Lin Feng's place. He had just come out of seclusion to look for Lin Feng. He was a person who couldn't stay in one place for a long time, and this damned Taoist had always wanted to develop his archaeological career. There were so many tombs of experts in the Undying Realm, and there were also so many great forces. The immeasurable Taoist naturally had many targets. Didn't you say that you won't do such things in the future? Lin Feng said speechlessly. Taoist Wu Liang said, I said I won't rob ancient tombs or dig ancient graves, but I didn't say I won't do archaeology. What I'm going to do next is archaeology. F***ck, what's the difference? Lin Feng immediately rubbed his teeth. However, this was immeasurable Taoist's own matter. Lin Feng also knew that he had no way of persuading immeasurable Taoist. Lin Feng felt that if immeasurable Taoist were to die one day, it would definitely be because he was discovered while excavating an ancient tomb. Then, he would be besieged and killed. Who asked this damned Taoist to be so stubborn? This piece of paper is... Immeasurable Taoist looked at the letter in Lin Feng's hand and was somewhat shocked. Lin Feng said, This is a letter from a close female friend of mine. Lin Feng said and wanted to keep the letter. Immeasurable Taoist said, I didn't say that. I said that this piece of paper is somewhat extraordinary. Isn't it just an ordinary piece of paper? What's so extraordinary about it? Lin Feng asked in surprise. If I'm not mistaken, this paper should be made from the immortal spirit tree. This kind of paper is very special. It can be preserved for hundreds of millions of years without dying. It's extremely rare and doesn't circulate in the market. It's said that this paper should be the paper used by the ancient survivors. Immeasurable Taoist said. Ancient survivors? What kind of people are they? Lin Feng asked curiously. A group of abandoned people, so they are called the ancient survivors. Immeasurable Taoist said. Can you be more specific? Lin Feng asked. Immeasurable Taoist said. Those people are people abandoned by their families, eras, or history. They gathered together and became what others call the ancient survivors. Their fates are often very tragic. From birth, they are plagued by bad luck, so they can't live for too long. Occasionally, some people can live a little longer, but they usually have to pay some other price in exchange for a longer lifespan. As for what price they have to pay, no one knows. It's said that these people bring bad luck to their families, friends, and families, so they are abandoned without hesitation. Immeasurable Taoist said. There's such a saying? It sounds a little superstitious. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. Immeasurable Taoist said. But that's the truth. The world of cultivators is a mysterious world in itself. Therefore, some seemingly unreasonable things can't be simply regarded as superstition. Lin Feng nodded and said, My confidant has a piece of paper that only the ancient survivors use. Does that mean she's also an ancient survivor? Immeasurable Taoist said. That's very likely. Did you find anything strange about her? Lin Feng said. When I found her, she was sleeping in an ancient coffin. When she woke up, she forgot who she was and even forgot everything about the past. Later, she left to search for her lost memories. Taoist Wu Liang said. This is really not a good thing. If she searches for her lost memories, she will probably encounter something even more terrible. These ancient survivors are people who have been abandoned by fate. She may be able to survive because she lost her memories in exchange for a chance to live. But if she finds her memories, she may die. As Taoist Wu Liang spoke, he looked at the contents of the letter and said, When she wrote this letter, she probably had a premonition of her fate. That's why she wrote such a farewell letter to you. Lin Feng grabbed Immeasurable Taoist and said, Since you know the origin of this letter, you must know where the ancient survivors live, right? Take me to find the ancient survivors. This? Immeasurable Taoist hesitated. Immeasurable Taoist suddenly hesitated. He seemed to be afraid of something. In the end, Immeasurable Taoist clenched his teeth and said, Who told us to be brothers? I'll help you with this. Go and arrange things in the Sin realm. Once you're done, we'll set off together. Chapter 4897. That damned Taoist actually ran away. Lin Feng couldn't help but shout gloomily. If he were to see this bastard Wu Liang next time, he would definitely give him a good beating. Whenever Immeasurable Taoist came across something good, he would shamelessly approach. But when he came across something troublesome, he would usually hide as far as he could. Wanting immeasurable Taoists to help was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. However, when Lin Feng saw Wu Liang's solemn expression, he believed the damned Taoist's words. If he had known earlier that this damned Taoist was lying to him, he would have tied him up and escorted him to lead the way. However, what was done could not be undone. Lin Feng took the sound transmission jade tube left behind by Wu Liang and sent his divine sense into it. Then, Lin Feng heard Wu Liang's voice. "Brother! Don't blame me for not leading the way. In fact, I don't know where the timeless survivors are hiding. Moreover, the timeless survivors are a group of people abandoned by fate. I am different from you. You have inherited a powerful fate from your father. You are the child of fate, so you can resist the harm caused by the timeless survivors' misfortune. However, I can't, so you should go and find the timeless survivors yourself. Although I don't know where the timeless survivors are, I heard that the timeless survivors are most likely in the Minor Western Heaven region. The Minor Western Heaven region is close to the Western Heaven region. The Western Heaven region is the birthplace of Buddhism in the Undying Realm. That place is very frightening. Don't go there, you might not be able to come out. I wish you all the best. When we meet again, at that time, we will still be good brothers." Wu Liang's voice came to an abrupt end. Wu Liang said that he couldn't resist the timeless survivor's misfortune, but it was pure nonsense. This guy spent all his time digging the ancient tombs of other people's ancestors, but he didn't seem to be plagued by misfortune. Lin Feng put away the sound transmission jade tube. Since Du Zhu, heretic sovereign holy, and the others were still in seclusion, Lin Feng planned to go to the Minor Western Heaven region by himself. Lin Feng of the Little Western Sky region had also heard about it. Some of them were close to the West Sea, while others were in contact with the West Heaven realm, the Demon realm, and the realm of Shattered Sunday. If he wanted to go to the Minor Western Heavens domain, he would have to go all the way west and pass through 2 domains to reach the Minor Western Heavens domain. It was a long journey. In addition, teleportation arrays were rarely seen in the Undying Realm, so it would take a long time. But even so what? He had to go to the Little Western Paradise region. Lin Feng didn't want to see Feng Yaoguang die tragically, and Lin Feng actually liked Feng Yaoguang a lot. The Xianyuan Ancient Starry Sky ship quickly jumped through the void. Leaping through the void consumed a huge amount of energy. Every time one leaped through the void, it would consume thousands of immortal stones. However, Lin Feng didn't care at all. Who asked Lin Feng to be so rich? In order to save time on the way to the Little Western Heavenly region, Lin Feng kept burning immortal stones to enhance the Xianyuan Ancient Starry Sky ship as it jumped through the void. As for Lin Feng, he was meditating on the Tao inside the Xianyuan Ancient Starship. He continued his bitter cultivation. Time slowly passed by. 1 year later, Lin Feng arrived at the Broken Sun domain, which was close to the Minor Western Heavens domain. The Broken Sun domain was also close to the Ancient Demon domain. At this moment, Fire Qilin, Feng Yaorao, Great Pun King, Peacock King, Little Pun King and others were cultivating in the ancestral land of the Ancient Demon domain. He wondered how they were doing. Perhaps after he found Feng Yaoguang, he could go to the Ancient Demon domain to see them. Lin Feng didn't stop at the Broken Sun domain. Half a year later, the Xianyuan Ancient Starry Sky ship arrived at the Minor Western Heavens domain. The reason why this domain was called the Minor Western Heavens domain was because there were many temples and monks here. Of course, this place was different from the Minor Western Heavens domain. The forces in the Minor Western Heavens domain were all established by monks. The Minor Western Heavens domain was more complicated. Although there were many temples, there were also many other forces. For example, the demon race, devil race, or other forces established by other races. Moreover, there was also a famous force in this domain, the 8 Extreme Palace. The 8 Extreme Palace was one of the most powerful forces in the Minor Western Heavens domain. This force was deeply rooted. It was said that in the past, the 8 Extreme Palace suppressed the timeless survivors. The timeless survivors suffered heavy losses, which was why they went into hiding. The timeless survivors naturally couldn't compete with a force like the 8 Extreme Palace. Not to mention, the 8 Extreme Palace had the support of the Heavenly Court. Therefore, being targeted by the 8 Extreme Palace was indeed a very tragic thing. I've finally arrived at the minor Western Heavens domain. Lin Feng couldn't help but let out a long sigh. If he flew normally, it would take more than 10 years to reach the minor Western Heavens domain. However, Lin Feng used a lot of immortal stones this time, so the time was shortened by 10 times. Everything in the minor Western Heavens domain was unfamiliar to Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng had been wandering around for many years, so his experience in dealing with matters was extremely rich. Next, Lin Feng planned to go to some of the larger ancient cities to inquire about the timeless survivors because there were many sources of information in those ancient cities. The minor Western Heavens city was the number 1 ancient city in the minor Western Heavens domain. This ancient city had existed before the immemorial era and was extremely ancient. There were many powerful forces stationed in this ancient city. Therefore, the forces in the minor Western Heavens city were intricate and complicated. After Lin Feng arrived at the minor Western Heavens city, he saw many monks on the streets. In other places, it was very difficult to see monks, but in the minor Western Heavens city, it was obviously a different situation. In fact, this was not surprising. After all, there were many Buddhist forces in the minor Western Heavens domain. Moreover, the minor Western Heavens domain was close to the Western Heavens domain. Therefore, some monks from the Western Heavens domain would probably come to the minor Western Heavens domain. Therefore, monks that were rarely seen in other places could be seen everywhere in the minor Western Heavens domain. Lin Feng came to the all-knowing pavilion to inquire about information. The one who received Lin Feng was an elder of the all-knowing pavilion. What made Lin Feng surprised was that this elder was actually a female elder. Moreover, she was a vixen. This vixen looked like a young woman in her 30s. She had a charming figure. A snow-white foxtail was hidden under her skirt. However, when she walked, the snow-white foxtail swayed back and forth. This vixen was born with a seductive bone. Therefore, her every move was filled with a charming feeling, as if she was trying to seduce you. I'm Shui Yuexin. How should I address you, young master? Chapter 4898. My name is Ji, Lin Feng said. So it's young master Ji? You don't look familiar. Is this your first time in our little Western Paradise city? Shui Yuexin asked sweetly. Lin Feng nodded. Yes, it's my first time in the little Western Paradise city. I would like to inquire about some information from the all-knowing pavilion, Shui Yuexin said. May I know what young master wants to inquire about? I wonder if the all-knowing pavilion knows anything about the timeless survivors? Lin Feng asked. Shui Yuexin was surprised. She probably did not expect Lin Feng to inquire about the timeless survivors. The timeless survivors were a taboo topic in the Little Western Paradise region. Very few people would talk about this faction. Shui Yuexin said. Our all-knowing pavilion doesn't know anything about the timeless survivors. I'm afraid young master has made a wasted trip this time. Lin Feng waved his hand and a river of immortal stones flew out. The river was made up of 1,000,000 immortal stones. Lin Feng said. Here are 1,000,000 immortal stones. If Fairy can provide me with information about the timeless survivors, these immortal stones will be yours. In the 100 Treasure Pavilion, a piece of information was usually worth a few hundred immortal stones. Some important information was worth a few thousand immortal stones. Some taboo topics were worth tens of thousands to 100,000 immortal stones. The elders and deacons who sold the information would take a commission. In fact, they could only take about 10% of the commission. Now that Lin Feng had spent 1,000,000 immortal stones to inquire about information, it meant that other than a small part of the immortal stones that they had to pay, the other 900,000 immortal stones were all hers. Shui Yuexin naturally knew what Lin Feng meant. She could not help but feel a rush of excitement. So many immortal stones were naturally very attractive to her. Young master is really rich. Shui Yuexin said with a smile. She kept the immortal stones. Lin Feng's lips curled into a smile. In this world, anything that could be settled with money was not a problem at all. For example, Shui Yuexin didn't want to tell Lin Feng about the timeless remnant because she was afraid of breaking some taboos. However, when she saw the 1,000,000 immortal stones, she couldn't stay true to her heart anymore. After collecting the stones, Shui Yuexin said, "They have taken root in minor Western heaven for a very long time. In the past, 8 Extreme Palace led many powers to hunt them down. Even though they killed many, many still managed to escape. That's why this place is now in ruins. Later on, no one knows where these ancient survivors hid. Of course, there may be others who know, but our all-knowing pavilion hasn't been able to find out. However, I can recommend a person to you. That person may know some information." Lin Feng asked. "Who is this person you're talking about?" Shui Yuexin said. "His name is Yun Tianyu. In the past, he had some ties with some ancient survivors. It is said that 8 Extreme Palace and other powers have been looking for him, but they haven't been able to catch him. His strength is unfathomable. After some time, he will come to Minor Western Heaven City." "Oh? He will come to Minor Western Heaven City? Isn't he afraid of being surrounded by 8 Extreme Palace and other powers?" Lin Feng asked in surprise. "No." Shui Yuexin shook her head and said with a wry smile. "He spread the news himself, saying that he obtained some treasures from an ancient secret realm, and wants to exchange them for enough high-grade immortal stones. I reckon that he is about to break through, so he needs so many high-grade immortal stones. Basically, the high-grade immortal stones are in the hands of the cultivators from the various powers. However, Yun Tianyu has always been very courageous. In addition to his strength, he is not afraid of 8 Extreme Palace and other powers." Lin Feng said. "Yun Tianyu spread the news that he will be coming to Minor Western Heaven City. He probably wants to attract the 8 Extreme Palace's experts. Over the years, he has killed many 8 Extreme Palace's experts. Perhaps he wants to go on a killing spree this time," Lin Feng said. "I didn't expect Yun Tianyu to be so extreme," Shui Yuexin said. "There's a reason why Yun Tianyu became so extreme. It's because Yun Tianyu's lover was an ancient remnant. Yun Tianyu's lover died tragically in that battle. I heard that Yun Tianyu's lover was pregnant at the time," Lin Feng said. "No wonder Yun Tianyu hates 8 Extreme Palace's cultivators so much." "Yeah, he is actually a straightforward person," Shui Yuexin said. "I wonder when Yun Tianyu will come to Minor Western Heaven City?" Lin Feng asked. "We will have to wait for some time. Once Yun Tianyu arrives, I will send someone to inform young master." "May I know where young master is staying now?" Shui Yuexin asked. Lin Feng said. "I haven't found a place to stay yet." Shui Yuexin said. "If young master doesn't mind, I can arrange a place for young master to stay. There are ordinary inns and mansions there. Moreover, the security is very good. No one will disturb young master." "Young master, are you interested?" Lin Feng thought. This Shui Yuexin is quite good at doing business. Lin Feng guessed that Shui Yuexin would earn quite a bit of commission every time she helped Yun Tianyu attract a customer. In truth, Lin Feng admired Shui Yuexin. Surviving in the world of cultivators was very difficult. It was even more so for a beautiful woman like Shui Yuexin. In order to obtain cultivation resources, many female cultivators would even sell their bodies. At the very least, Shui Yuexin relied on her own efforts to earn immortal stones. This was truly admirable. Lin Feng said. "All right, then I will have to trouble Fairy to lead the way." "Young master, please don't be so polite. It is this servant's honor to be able to serve young master," Shui Yuexin said sweetly. She stood up and led the way. Her willowy waist swayed back and forth. Her figure swayed gracefully. Nothing could be more beautiful than that. A top-grade beauty was indeed a top-grade beauty. She was beautiful no matter how one looked at her. Shui Yuexin brought Lin Feng to the residence. It was a high-class inn. At the front was a 100-meter-tall pavilion. It was an inn-style residence. The rooms were all close to each other, and the most luxurious ones were suites. Further back, there were mansions after mansions. Each mansion had 8 individual courtyards arranged in the shape of the 8 trigrams. It seemed that the cultivator who built this in back then was someone who had studied the 8 trigrams. The price of the mansions at the back was naturally incomparable to the prices of the inns at the front. However, this was nothing to Lin Feng. Lin Feng chose a place to stay. A servant girl brought Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin to the place. The servant girl was very perceptive. After bringing the two to the place, she quickly left so as not to disturb Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin. Chapter 48-99. Of course. The relationship between Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin was very pure. It was as pure as the snow in spring. Lin Feng looked at the layout of the courtyard. The design was not bad, and the spiritual energy was 10 times denser than outside. It was a good place to cultivate. What do you think of this place, young master? Shui Yuexin asked. Lin Feng nodded. The design is not bad. Shui Yuexin smiled. As long as young master likes it. Shui Yuexin continued. Tomorrow, there will be a monk from the Western Heaven region. It is said that he brought some good stuff from the depths of the Western Heaven region. I wonder if young master is interested in taking a look? Oh? Good stuff from the Western Heaven region? What kind of good stuff is it? Lin Feng asked curiously. It is said that there is Buddhist resin, some ancient Buddhist scriptures, Buddhist treasures, relics, and other Buddhist treasures. These things can drive away evil spirits and ghosts. They are very useful to us. In addition, it is said that there is a sacred ancestor Buddha stone. It is said that the sacred ancestor Buddha stone has fused with the blood of Buddha and contains the supreme Tao. It is unknown if the rumors are true. Shui Yuexin said. Lin Feng asked. That monk is selling these things? Why do I feel that he is not a monk? Instead, it seems like he went to the Western Heaven region and looted many treasures. Thus, he is here to sell them. Shui Yuexin said softly. Young master, there are many types of monks in the Western Heaven region. Some of them are devoted to Buddhism and meditate on the Tao every day. They are compassionate. However, there is also a group of monks who have demons residing in their hearts. They hide in the Western Heaven region for the sake of wealth. They are usually very secretive and will not be discovered. As for the things they sell, they will not sell them in the Western Heaven region. They will often sell them in other regions. The orthodox monks of the Western Heaven region rarely leave the Western Heaven region. Thus, they can sell those things without worry. After exchanging them for the things they need, they will return to the Western Heaven region and wait for the opportunity to strike again. Lin Feng smiled bitterly and said, I thought that the Western Heaven region was a Buddhist holy land, a pure land of Buddhism. But who would have thought that the Western Heaven region would have so many dirty things? Shui Yuexin said. That's right, but this kind of thing, let's talk about it in private. Don't talk about it outside. Those evil monks of the Western Heaven region have extremely terrifying strength. If they know that someone is gossiping behind their back, they will offend those evil monks and evil monks. If you offend those guys, then you will be in trouble. I presume that young master has some understanding of Buddhist sex inheritance and divine ability. Therefore, if you can avoid offending Buddhist sex monks, you should try your best not to offend them. Lin Feng nodded. He agreed with Shui Yuexin's words. The methods of Buddhism were indeed strange and terrifying. For example, the Great Karma Art, Great Purification Art, Great Destiny Art, and other 3,000 Great Tao that Lin Feng was currently learning were actually the foundations of Buddhism. However, Lin Feng's use of these 3,000 Great Tao was actually far inferior to Buddhist sex cultivators. For example, the old monk that Lin Feng rescued from the Great Bone Hall had once used a divine ability called Karma Retribution. After this divine ability was used, the evil spirit warrior instantly died. However, this was not the most terrifying thing. The most terrifying thing was that the old monk's lifespan was crazily increasing. Karma Retribution was a divine ability that the old monk had comprehended from the Great Karma Art. Obviously, the Buddhist sect had comprehended more than one or a few divine abilities from the 3,000 great Das. Many of the divine abilities were extremely strange. Therefore, this was also the reason why one could not offend the Buddhist sect. Since the Buddhist sect was so powerful, offending the Buddhist sect would definitely not end well. Shui Yuexin smiled and said, "It's getting late. Young master has just arrived at the Western Heavens City and must be very tired. Then, I won't disturb young master's rest." "Okay. I'll see you out," Lin Feng said. After seeing Shui Yuexin out, he immediately returned to his residence. Lin Feng rested well for a day. Next, he waited for Yun Tianyo's arrival. Lin Feng also knew that this matter could not be rushed. There was no point in being anxious. On this day, Shui Yuexin arrived at Lin Feng's residence. Shui Yuexin was as beautiful as ever. Her beauty was a kind of beauty that emanated from her bones. That kind of charming temperament could make one's heart palpitate. "Young master, that evil monk has arrived. Let's set off now," Shui Yuexin said. "I'll have to trouble Fairy to come here personally." Lin Feng cupped his fists and said, He, young master, please don't stand on ceremony," Shui Yuexin said in a charming manner. She came in a beast carriage. Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin boarded the carriage together. In the narrow space, Lin Feng could smell the alluring fragrance coming from Shui Yuexin's body. Shui Yuexin smiled and asked, "Is there something that interests young master?" "Of course." Lin Feng nodded and said, "I'm very interested in Buddha resin, especially high-quality ones. I wonder what the quality of the Buddha resin brought by that monk will be like." Shui Yuexin said, "You can find all kinds of Buddha resin. However, young master should know that Buddha resin is a rare thing. Moreover, very few people dare to refine it. After all, this is something that offends Buddhism. Therefore, the price of Buddha resin will be very high. Moreover, the competition will be very fierce." Lin Feng smiled and said, "Of course, I've already prepared myself for this." Shui Yuexin said, "Aside from Buddha resin, what else is young master interested in?" Lin Feng said, "I'm also very interested in the sacred ancestor Buddha stone that has been infused with Buddha's blood." Shui Yuexin said with a wry smile, "Young master, the things you want are all very valuable. However, with your wealth, you should be able to participate in the competition." 2 hours later, the carriage arrived at its destination. It was a huge courtyard in the black market. Someone led Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin to a hall in the depths. There were many cultivators gathered there. In the middle of the hall was a huge stage. On it, there were dozens of beautiful women dancing coquettishly. Their movements were very sexy and seductive. Many cultivators cheered from time to time. "What is this place?" Lin Feng asked. "This is the largest and most high-end trading place in the black market. There are many things that can't be found in the outside world. Young master, look at those charming dancers on the stage. Not only are they rare cultivation furnaces, but they are also specially trained to serve men. If young master is interested, you can buy a few dancers back." Chapter 4900. Lin Feng shook his head and said, "I'm not interested in them. But you can buy a few of them and make them your personal maidservants." "It's not bad," Shui Yuexin suddenly said. "I don't have such a good life," Lin Feng said. "How can that be? You're a peerless beauty, you're destined to be above others." Shui Yuexin could only smile bitterly. Only she knew how difficult it was for a woman to work hard outside. But there were some words that she could not say to Lin Feng. After all, she and Lin Feng were not lovers. So, Shui Yuexin did not continue to talk about this topic. When they arrived at the hall on the second floor, Lin Feng saw that there were many auction stages. On each stage there was a cage. In those cages there were women, children, old people, and children. But no matter what kind of people they were not ordinary people. "Those auctioned are all slaves. Some of the slaves' cultivation is very strong," So this kind of small auction is very popular among cultivators. It's a good choice to buy some powerful slaves as guards. As for the children, most of them have strong bloodlines and are worth training. If they are trained well, their cultivation will not be weak. Those children will usually be trained to be death warriors. As for those women, they are all beautiful. They are different from the women who are trained below. They will have a strong resistance to those who buy them. Some people are more perverted and like these women who resist them, said Shui Yuxin to Lin Feng. She was very familiar with the situation on the stages. She was already used to this kind of thing, so she was not surprised. Lin Feng could not do anything about this kind of thing. His ability was limited and he could not save everyone from the sea of suffering. Soon, Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin came to the third floor. When they arrived, Shui Yuexin met an acquaintance. The other party told Shui Yuexin that the monk was busy now, so they needed to wait for a while. This is really Buddhism's misfortune. Shui Yuexin's friend went to the second floor and Shui Yuexin couldn't help but mutter. Lin Feng roughly knew what the monk was doing at this moment. Lin Feng was also a little speechless, but this was other people's business, so he couldn't say much. The third floor was very large, and there were many counters. On those counters, there was a dazzling array of treasures. Many of the treasures were incomparably precious. Therefore, there were quite a few cultivators here. Let's walk around, Shui Yuexin said to Lin Feng. Lin Feng naturally had no objections. He and Shui Yuexin strolled around on the third floor. Lin Feng even saw immortal equipment among the dazzling goods. As expected of the black market, anything could be found here, but the prerequisite was that you had to be able to afford it. The items here were also extremely expensive. For example, an immortal equipment cost about 30 million immortal stones. This was not a small number. Of course, it was nothing to Lin Feng, but to others, it was definitely an astronomical figure. Even the direct descendants of the top forces would not be able to take out so many immortal stones. Shui Yuexin stopped in front of a counter, looked at the shop assistant, and said, "Give me that black gold sword." The shop assistant took out a treasured sword. The treasured sword was about 1 meter long, 10 centimeters wide, and 3 centimeters thick. This treasured sword gave off a cold aura. Shui Yuexin obviously liked this treasured sword. She held it in her hand, as if she couldn't bear to part with it. This seems to be a damaged treasured sword. Lin Feng looked at the black gold sword and said. Shui Yuexin nodded and said, "Yes, it was originally an immortal equipment. However, because the immortal patterns on it were damaged, it became damaged and could not unleash the power of an immortal equipment. However, this treasured sword can still be repaired into an immortal equipment," Lin Feng said. "If it is repaired into an immortal equipment, its power will be greatly reduced," Shui Yuexin said. "Although that is the case, it can still unleash the power of an immortal equipment. It is still very powerful. However, the price of this damaged black gold sword is as high as 10 million immortal stones." Lin Feng guessed that Shui Yuexin was probably saving money. She obviously wanted to buy the black gold sword, but she did not have enough immortal stones to save up. Thinking about it, she was only an elder of the Baishao Pavilion. Although her monthly income was not bad, she needed a large amount of resources for her own cultivation. These resources were all bought with immortal stones. Therefore, the amount of immortal stones she could save every month was not that much. If she had brothers and sisters, she might have to take care of the cultivation resources that her brothers and sisters needed for their cultivation. This made it even harder for her to save up immortal stones. Shui Yuexin might not have met many wealthy customers like Lin Feng in her entire life. Saving up 10 million immortal stones was indeed too difficult. This was like asking a white-collar worker to save up 10 million immortal stones in modern society. Was it not as difficult as ascending to the heavens? Isn't this Shui Yuexin? What a coincidence! I didn't expect to meet you here. At this moment, a sharp voice was heard. Lin Feng turned around and saw a man and a woman walking over. The one who spoke was the woman. The woman was tall and slender, and she was quite pretty. However, she wore heavy makeup and had a sharp and unkind look on her face. She was holding the hand of a cultivator who looked to be in his 30s. That cultivator only looked like he was in his 30s, but in reality, he had been cultivating for God knows how many years. After seeing the woman, Shui Yuexin's pretty face turned ugly. The woman with heavy makeup quickly walked over while holding the hand of the male cultivator. She looked at Shui Yuexin with a haughty attitude and said, "You've also taken a fancy to this black gold sword? Yeah, this is an immortal weapon. Although it's damaged, it can still be repaired. It's really a good item. However, this black gold sword is worth 10 million immortal stones. Can you afford it?" Shui Yuexin's face turned ugly, but she did not say anything. She put the black gold sword back into the box and pulled Lin Feng, wanting to leave with him. "You're leaving just like that? Could it be that this person in front of you is your lover? Shui Yuexin has taken a fancy to this black gold sword. Aren't you going to buy it for her?" said the woman with heavy makeup while looking at Lin Feng with a smile yet not a smile. Lin Feng stood there and did not leave. He said indifferently, "I see that you also want to buy it. If you want to buy it, I'll let you have this black gold sword." Chapter 49:01. Li Xiaolu, don't go too far. Shui Yuexin looked at the woman with heavy makeup with an ugly expression. This woman with heavy makeup had joined the Baishao Pavilion with Shui Yuexin back then. However, her business ability was much worse than Shui Yuexin's. In addition, her figure, appearance, etc., could not be compared to Shui Yuexin. Therefore, she had always been very jealous of Shui Yuexin. Later on, she wanted to scheme against Shui Yuexin and make the Baishao Pavilion expel Shui Yuexin. Therefore, she stole a part of the important information that she and Shui Yuexin had kept together. Then, she slandered Shui Yuexin for stealing the Baishao Pavilion's information and selling it. During that period of time, Shui Yuexin's cultivation had reached a critical point and needed a large amount of immortal stones. Moreover, Shui Yuexin's younger brother had injured a vice sect master's grandson in the sect. Therefore, she needed a large amount of immortal stones to settle this matter. Therefore, Shui Yuexin needed money and Li Xiaolu chose the right time. Shui Yuexin had sufficient reason to commit the crime. Anyone would suspect that Shui Yuexin did this. Fortunately, the pavilion master of the Baishao Pavilion in the Little Western Paradise City was very wise. He did not listen to Li Xiaolu's words and secretly investigated this matter. He found that Shui Yuexin was slandered and the main culprit was Li Xiaolu. Li Xiaolu was clearly a thief crying thief. Therefore, she was expelled from the Baishao Pavilion. Later on, Li Xiaolu hooked up with a young master of the Xikong clan in the Little Western Paradise City. It was this cultivator in front of them. The Xikong clan was a top clan in the Little Western Paradise City. This young master was called Xikong Maobai. He was talented and came from a good family. Therefore, he was very rich. Li Xiaolu was not a proper woman. Before she met Xikong Maobai, she was already a veteran in love. Therefore, she was very good at pleasing Xikong Maobai. Later on, when Li Xiaolu saw Shui Yuexin, she would show off in front of Shui Yuexin. Mainly, she wanted to humiliate Shui Yuexin. Now that she saw Shui Yuexin here, she naturally wanted to humiliate Shui Yuexin. Even Lin Feng, who was with Shui Yuexin, had been humiliated. Li Xiaolu looked at the angry Shui Yuexin with a condescending attitude and said, "A pauper will always be a pauper. This is a very high-end place, but you're making a big fuss here. You really have no manners. I'll have to talk to the boss here in the future. People with low status like you can't be allowed in. You'll disturb us, the real guests." You. Being humiliated by Li Xiaolu, Shui Yuexin was so angry that her face turned green. She pointed at Li Xiaolu and said, "You've been mumbling for a long time." But she didn't know how to refute Li Xiaolu. This world is very cruel. If you don't have money, you will be looked down upon wherever you go. Don't you. I don't even want to talk to a lowly person like you. That's simply a disgrace to my status. Li Xiaolu had an arrogant look on her face as she turned to look at Sikong Mobai. She said coquettishly, "Young master, you said that you'll buy that black gold sword for me. You're a man, so you must keep your word, right?" Li Xiaolu said as she hugged Sikong Mobai's arm and swung it back and forth. Her coquettish voice was so coquettish that it made one want to vomit. "You little slut! When have I ever lied to you?" Sikong Mobai laughed loudly. After hearing Sikong Mobai's words, Li Xiaolu immediately became excited and looked at Shui Yuexin with a smug look. Sikong Mobai said, "Wrap up the black gold sword. This young master wants it." "All right. Young master Sikong." At this moment, the elder in charge of the business on this floor came over and said. This elder was called Gong Sun Qin, a middle-aged cultivator in the prime of his life. He had a square face and a smooth and slick appearance. Gong Sun Qin quickly ordered the staff to wrap up the black gold sword. After that, Sikong Mobai took out 10 million immortal stones and handed it to Gong Sun Qin. "Young master, let's go!" Shui Yuexin said softly. She didn't want to stay in this place where she had been humiliated. "There's no hurry," Lin Feng said. Lin Feng pointed at a jade hairpin on the counter and asked, "What's so special about that jade hairpin?" Although Gong Sun Qin didn't think that Lin Feng could buy that jade hairpin, he was a shrewd person and knew that he couldn't afford to offend people when doing business. Therefore, he continued to introduce the hairpin to Lin Feng with a smile. "This jade hairpin is made from immortal mother jade that has been formed for tens of millions of years. It's an immortal-grade defensive treasure. Young master, you should know that immortal-grade defensive treasures are more expensive than offensive treasures. Therefore, this jade hairpin is worth 40 million immortal stones. What about the 3 small swords in the box?" Lin Feng continued asking. "These 3 small swords are called the Qianquan Immortal Swords. It's said that they are a combination-type immortal-grade weapon forged by the Qianquan Holy Emperor. Once the 3 swords are activated, they can resonate with each other and become extremely powerful. This combination-type immortal-grade sword set is worth 100 million immortal stones." Gong Sun Qin continued. Shui Yuexin, Li Xiaolu, and Sikong Mobai couldn't help but gasp when they heard the price. 100 million immortal stones. What an astronomical figure! Even though Sikong Mobai came from a large family, he could only use about 30 million immortal stones. 30 million immortal stones could only buy an ordinary immortal-grade weapon. "You can't afford it. Why are you asking so many questions? Elder Gong Sun, why do you have to pay attention to these lowly paupers? You're just wasting your breath." Li Xiaolu looked at Lin Feng with a mocking expression. Sikong Mobai said, "As a person, you should know your place. Don't do things that will only bring shame to yourself." Clearly, Sikong Mobai was mocking Lin Feng. Gong Sun Qin couldn't help but smile bitterly. In his opinion, Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin had indeed brought shame to themselves by offending Li Xiaolu and Sikong Mobai. Lin Feng ignored the two of them. Instead, he flicked his finger. In an instant, 14 rivers of immortal stones flew out. Each river was made up of 10 million immortal stones. The rivers of immortal stones emitted extremely dense immortal qi. Everyone in the shop couldn't help but look over. When they saw the 140 million immortal stones, they couldn't help but be shocked. Many of them had never seen so many immortal stones in their entire lives. Lin Feng said indifferently, "I want that jade hairpin and the 3 immortal swords." "Ah? Young master wants them? Young master, you really want them?" Gong Sun Qin asked in disbelief. These 2 sets of immortal-grade weapons had been here for thousands of years, and no one had bought them. Moreover, immortal-grade treasures were very difficult to sell, especially when they were worth 140 million immortal stones. Chapter 4902. "Oh my God! Who is that young master? How could he be so rich? This young master looks unfamiliar. He should be a foreign cultivator, right? He casually took out 140 million immortal stones. He's really rich. His family must have a few thousand immortal mines, right? Just now, Li Xiaolu and Sikong Maobai actually looked down on that young master. Now I know that they are just clowns in front of that young master. Compared to that young master, they are simply paupers. That young master didn't even care about their provocation. I originally thought that young master didn't have much confidence. Now I know that young master doesn't even care to do that. Who is that young master? He can't be bothered to argue with people like Li Xiaolu and Sikong Maobai. They don't deserve it. At this moment, the surrounding cultivators also started discussing. Everyone was guessing Lin Feng's identity, and was extremely curious about Lin Feng. Especially many beautiful female cultivators. When they saw a young, handsome, and rich young master like Lin Feng, they couldn't wait to use their charming techniques to charm Lin Feng. If Lin Feng curled his finger, a large group of female cultivators would definitely throw themselves at him. As for Li Xiaolu and Sikong Maobai, their faces alternated between red and white. There was no need for Lin Feng to humiliate them. The discussions of the surrounding cultivators made them want to vomit blood. The two of them felt that the surrounding cultivators were looking at them with ridicule and disdain. What was a slap in the face? A real slap in the face didn't require the other party to do it personally. The surrounding cultivators' discussion was like a slap to their faces. Shui Yuexin was also shocked. She knew that Lin Feng was generous, but she didn't expect Lin Feng to be so rich. 140 million immortal stones. He took it out so casually. He didn't even frown. It was really unbelievable. Lin Feng looked at Gong Sunqing and said, "I've already taken out the immortal stones. Do you think I'll lie to you? Quickly wrap up the 2 sets of immortal artifacts for me." At this moment, Gong Sunqing also recovered from his deep shock. He quickly apologized and said, Sorry. I was rude just now. Please forgive me, young master." Lin Feng waved his hand, indicating that he didn't care. Gong Sunqing took 140 million immortal stones. He was so happy that his heart was about to bloom. As the person in charge of the 2 sets of the immortal artifacts, he could get 1% commission. That was a commission of 1.4 million immortal stones. He could wake up from his dreams. Gong Sunqing wrapped the 2 celestial weapons and handed them to Lin Feng. Said Lin Feng indifferently. "It's not for me, it's for you, Xian Celestial." "What? For the water fairy?" Gong Sunqing's 140 million immortal stones for 2 sets of immortal artifacts. Gong Sunqing felt that he was in a complete mess. The surrounding cultivators who were watching the show also felt that they were in a complete mess. Li Xiaolu and Sikong Maobai also felt their minds go blank. Those were 2 sets of immortal artifacts worth 140 million immortal stones. It was too extravagant for them to use. They were given away so casually. What was going on? Shui Yuexin's pink lips opened slightly. She was extremely shocked. Because she didn't expect. Lin Feng gave the 2 sets of immortal artifacts to her. However, Shui Yuexin quickly regained her senses. Li Xiaolu and Sikong Maobai thought that Lin Feng was her man. So when they humiliated her, they also humiliated Lin Feng. Lin Feng was probably trying to humiliate them on purpose. It was a good chance to give her some face. The 2 sets of immortal artifacts were just temporarily kept by her. Thinking of this, Shui Yuexin felt relieved. But she was still a little disappointed. How great would it be if Lin Feng was really her man? But this was just a wishful thinking. A man like Lin Feng. What kind of woman didn't he have? How could he be interested in her? What are you waiting for? Hurry up and give the 2 sets of immortal artifacts to Fairy Yu Xian. Lin Feng looked at Gong Sunqing and said. Gong Sunqing recovered and knew that he had lost his composure. He was considered a person who had seen the world. But today was the first time he saw such a situation. It was no wonder that he was a little distracted. Gong Sunqing recovered and handed the 2 sets of immortal artifacts to Shui Yuexin. Then he said, "Fairy Shui, these are your immortal artifacts." "Thank you." Shui Yuexin took the immortal artifacts and said, You flatter me. Fairy, please don't flatter me. said Gong's Sun Qing hastily. He knew that if Shui Yuxian and Lin Feng got together, she would become a phoenix. Life was precious. Shui Yuexin is really lucky to have found such a man. Yeah, she's going to be rich. Many cultivators discussed. This Shui Yuexin isn't that pretty. She's not even as pretty as me. How did she find such a good man? Shui Yuexin is a vixen. She must have used some seductive techniques to seduce that young master. Some female cultivators started discussing. They were purely jealous of Shui Yuexin because it was rare to see a woman as beautiful and charming as Shui Yuexin. Let's go! Li Xiaolu tugged at Sikong Mobai's clothes and said. She originally wanted to humiliate Shui Yuexin. Who would have thought that, in the end, she was humiliated by Shui Yuexin? She thought about how many times she had begged Sikong Mobai to buy the incomplete immortal artifact. She even used all sorts of tricks to please Sikong Mobai. She finally got Sikong Mobai to agree to buy the sword for her. But what about Shui Yuexin? She didn't even ask for the 2 sets of immortal artifacts. Shui Yuexin's man bought the 2 immortal artifacts for her. Li Xiaolu was so jealous of Shui Yuexin that she was about to die. Sikong Mobai's expression was extremely ugly. He couldn't stay in this place any longer. He could imagine that the news would spread very soon. By then, he would become the laughingstock of many people. Thinking of this, Sikong Mobai developed a deep hatred for Lin Feng. He glanced at Lin Feng in an ice-cold way and immediately left with Li Xiaolu. Lin Feng looked at Shui Yuexin and said with a smile, "Let's walk around and see if there's anything good." You're tuning into the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.